Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our movie news show. Normally weekly, although we've had a couple of missed episodes because it's been a really busy, hectic time. Mainly Connor was sick last week, so what we've done is that this week we had a TV news at the start of the week, we had a trailer talk in the middle of the week, which was like a big supersized 2 weeks worth of trailers, and this is going to be a bigger supersized 2 weeks worth of news, and then we'll be back to normal next week. But we are recording this slightly earlier than normal. Normally we record this on a Sunday night, after the box office went up. We're recording this on a Friday night, which is when we normally do TV news. Why is that relevant? It's relevant because it's before the weekend's box office happens. So, not to worry, we actually have 2 full weekends to talk about since the last time we recorded. But it does mean that we have 2 weekends to predict for, because we'll be recording next Sunday, which is at the end of the next box office week next week. So that's a really long way of saying it's a long episode. It'll be not as long, but it's a slightly longer episode next week as well. We'll be back to normal next week.
What you're saying is, break out the booze, folks.
Yeah, so we talk about movies. So yeah, we have a box office section, we talk about comic book movies, horror movies, we have a general section, and at the end we'll discuss any films we happen to watch that weren't for review purposes. And it's been 2.5 weeks, so I have a few.
I have none.
Good. Hey, it wasn't that long ago I was being tortured with you sitting there with like 7 movies when I had none. So payback's a bitch. It's happening.
No, this month has been between a crazy work schedule, being ill, like too ill to even watch anything. I was just out of it, and then all the other spare time doing this. Yeah, we've had a lot of TV and been catching up on the stuff that we missed, so it's been kind of hectic. I've watched like 2 movies all month.
Atrocious, utterly pathetic. I mean, I guess that's just, condemn them in the comments for such a poor show. But we're going to do about movie news, so without further ado, we'll get cracking because we have a lot to talk about. Now, of course, I was a bit more vicious perhaps with some things making it in or not, because it was going to be a big show, but we'll talk about all the big stuff in the last couple of weeks. So, box office. So we got 2 weekends to talk about. We did make predictions for not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. We made predictions. That was the weekend The Predator was coming out, and we made some wildly inaccurate predictions.
We overshot, didn't we? Whatever we did,
we overshot by a lot. You more so. You guessed 60. Yeah, you guessed 65 million.
I feel like, for whatever reason, I was just feeling positive that week, and I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a good week for everything."
Yeah, not like you, but I guessed 50, which was still too much. The exact amount was 24.6 million on its opening weekend.
So even your guess was more than twice the amount.
Pretty much, almost exactly twice the amount.
Yeah, but I wanted to say more than twice. It sounds worse.
Sure. So that was number 1 though. That was number 1 that weekend. This is the 14th to the 16th we're talking about, domestic weekend box office. We guessed The Nun as well. We guessed what that second weekend was going to be. You guessed 22 million.
Far too high, I'm sure.
I guessed 14 million. It came in at number 2 with 18.2 million, which
I win.
You win by the 0.2.
By 0.2.
By 0.2 you win. It's right in the middle of what we said.
Yeah. I mean, between us, we averaged out alright then.
Yeah. So okay. So fair enough. You could argue that our guesses there were quite good because we kind of averaged out to the right amount.
Yeah.
We also guessed for the opening weekend of A Simple Favor, which did come in at number 3. You guessed 25 million, and given that you guessed that was higher than The Nun, we know you're dead wrong. I guessed 16 million, and it is almost exactly 16 million. I want points.
Really?
It's 16,011,689 $. So it's not even 16.1.
Unacceptable. You didn't get the 11,000.
It's 16.01, not 0.1, 16.01. That's how close I was to this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't let it get to your head.
Number 4 was White Boy Rick with 8.8 million. I'll go through this one quite quickly because we'll spend more time looking at the newest weekend's box office.
The recent ones that people care about.
Number 5 was Crazy Rich Asians in its 5th weekend with 8.6 million. Number 6 was Peppermint with 6 million. Number 7 was The Meg with 3.8 million. Number 8 was Searching with 3.1 million. Number 9 was Mission Impossible Fallout with 2.2 million. And number 10 was Unbroken Path to Redemption with 2.2 million. That was a new entry. That sounds like a Christian film. I'm just going to click on it and see what it is.
It does. I have no idea what it is, but I wouldn't be shocked if it is.
I just... Damn it, you can't click on the poster on Box Office Mojo. Damn you.
What were they called? Unbroken.
Path to Redemption. That was the poster looked very Christian-y as well.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Oh, there he is. It didn't sound like it at first.
Oh, okay.
It sounded at first like, haunted by nightmares of his horrific experiences, World War II hero, man meets woman, becomes his wife, personal demons soon threaten to destroy his marriage. Sounded like a drama at this point.
Sure.
Until he heard the stirring words of the Reverend Billy Graham in 1949, embracing his newfound Christian faith. Yeah, there we go.
Of course. The only Christian film that any of you should go watch is the 1970s film God Told Me To. It will change your life. It will grant a new light on the entire subject.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a. Do you know what I love about that movie? Do you know what I love about
something else?
Is that every 10 minutes it decides to take the film in a new direction, but what I love about it is that it completely 100% commits to every new direction it takes. It doesn't just waffle into
every direction.
Yeah, it doesn't waffle around, it doesn't like sort of hesitate. Every time it takes a sharp turn to a different idea, it commits fully, and I respect that.
Like, where that movie ends and where it starts.
Oh god!
Holy shit!
Do you know the funny thing is the opening of the movie is there's a sniper in New York like sniping people from a skyscraper, and it's like a really like good thriller kind of there's a sniper on the roof and he's shooting at civilians and we're trying to figure out and the cops try to figure out where they are and how to find them. That's the opening scene. You think it's going to be a gritty 70s thriller. And then by the end of the movie, there's a space vagina. It's a whole thing. Like just trust us. Watch God Told Me To. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. Which says how true that is, given that we both said that at the same time.
Yes. But yes, last weekend, the 21st to the 23rd, of course, we're recording this on Friday, so we're actually at the start of the new weekend, but last weekend we did have one big new release, which we would have guessed the opening for had we not. No, I can see it, but I'll make you guess for fun. It was number one, I'll give you that, but The House with a Clock in Its Walls, the Eli Roth kind of family-friendly horror adventure.
It's 28.
26. Not bad.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, not bad. A Simple Favor came in at number 2 with 10.2 million. That's a decent hold given that
it is, which means Predator dropped.
Yeah, I mean, A Simple Favor's not made that much. I mean, it's made 46 worldwide. That's not like a huge number, but it's relatively low budget, I think.
Pretty low budget, I would
given
assume,
what it was.
by the look of it.
Number 3 was The Nun with 9.9 million, which now that really upsets me because that movie is garbage. The Nun is
you
straight
really
up.
hate it, didn't you?
Yeah, that movie is straight up garbage, and it's making money. It upsets me so much.
I actively refuse to watch any of the Conjuring
spin-offs
movies that aren't
The Conjuring. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. That and Annabelle are making money, and I hate it. I hate that the studios are just getting away with it and think, oh yeah, we could just put out this garbage and it'll make money. We don't have to actually put in effort. And I hate that they've just been proven right. I hate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate it.
Screw you, people.
Next up, number 4 was The Predator with 9.1 million. What I will say is that there's a lot of close things. Like, number 2 is 10 million, 3 and 4 are both in the 9 million range. Like, there's a lot of close things here. I
think it hurts for Predator more than the others, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a bad drop. I mean, it has cracked 100 million worldwide. It has done that at least, but it's not like.
But do we know the budget?
88 million. So for it to be profitable, you're looking at getting closer to 200 million, including marketing costs and all that, which I'm sure is not what they were hoping for.
No.
But hey, so it's a shame. Predator's kind of
It means don't expect another Predator movie for a while.
Well, no, I would expect one, but I wouldn't expect the sequel to this. I'd expect another soft reboot, which is basically.
But I don't think it'll be soon.
Well, we'll define soon.
Next 5 years.
Sure.
I don't think you're getting it in 5 years.
Sure, but I mean, to me, that's not even that soon anymore.
I mean, looking at the franchise as a whole, not really. As Hollywood.
Because the point I'm making is Predators was 8 years ago, and that feels like a new movie to me still. That still feels like a recent thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But for Hollywood, that's a long time.
So
in this,
what I was going to say though is I feel like it's turning into Terminator, where every time there's a new one, every like 5 or so years, it's like a new attempt to start the franchise again, where it's supposed to have new sequels to this one film, but they keep failing, and you know, it's like
and just
depressing.
no one gives a shit.
That said, the Predator movies so far have been much better than any of these Terminator attempts. I mean, don't get me wrong, Terminator 1 and 2 are much better than any Predator movies, but all of the attempts since that to reboot Terminator have all been much worse than either Predators or The Predator.
I mean, if you count just the rebooting, I mean, I'd take Terminator 3 over.
I'm not counting EVP.
Predators.
Oh, Predators.
Yeah.
Nah, they're on par. They're both kind of bland and forgettable.
If I had to watch one though, I'd have more fun with Terminator 3.
Okay. Not Salvation or Genesis though.
No, I'm not going that. I'm not that bad. I'm just
not those ones.
I never even saw Genesis. So.
Oh, you should. Patreon goal. All right.
Hey, you have to watch it too.
I'll do it from memory. It's fine. It was memorable. Number 5 was Crazy Rich Asians with 6.3 million. Just that's doing quite well worldwide. That's made 211 million worldwide on a 30 million budget. That is, I believe, the highest grossing romantic comedy in quite some time, because they've not been a big thing for a while.
They haven't, no. Not at the cinema.
Do you know what's insane to me about this and then Black Panther? It's like this thing that we all like anyone with a bit of sense in their brain said, hey, you know what? There's all these untapped audiences where if you give them something specific, you'll make a pretty tidy profit out of it. And wouldn't you believe it? Like, I mean, I assume this is a good movie, or at least, you know, if you like these kinds of movies, it's probably good. Like,
do you know what I assume their logic is as a studio head? Mm-hmm. It's greed of. It's like going, yeah, okay, there's X amount of Asian people in America, right?
Okay.
And they're going, we could get all of those to watch this movie and we'd make a pretty damn healthy profit. But there's a lot more white folk in America. If we can get all of them to watch our movie, we'd make a shitload more.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, though, is that you never get all of them anyway. You never get all of anyone to go watch a movie.
They're ambitious enough to go, we can get more.
As much as we're people who go to the theatre like multiple times a month, there's people who go like once a year to see like one movie. And they don't really care.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's the way they're looking at it. They're going, we could get a lot of money from this audience, or we could go for all the money.
Well, yeah, that's what they want. They want the super mega budget thing. They're all chasing the tent poles. But here's the thing. We, as an audience, we are way more fractured than we ever have been. Like, everything's more niche. Everything's like catering to other different people's tastes. You want your heady sci-fi shows. You have your streaming services and your cable networks for that. You go elsewhere for your other things. Blah blah blah. And that's better. Everyone has their own little thing. And you know, if you're into like a couple of different genres, you focus in on those genres, and that's what you want. Which they hate. I mean, it's the same thing with TV ratings. Back before cable and satellite and all that stuff existed, they loved the fact that there was only a few channels to pick from, because they would get like 30 million people watching like a regular thing on a Saturday night. That was just, no. Yeah. That is just good ratings on a Saturday night. Whereas now they can never get that because there's so many channels, there's so many other options.
When you've got to choose out of 5 channels, okay, you got pretty good odds that you can get it. Beat the competition,
and
right?
Of course, from the broadcaster's perspective, that makes a lot of sense. They love that. But for all of us, for the audience, it's like, no, we like having choices to actually watch what we want. If I had to sit and pick from 4 channels, like which one was worth watching, I would probably hate half the shit I watched. I'd just have it on because it's all that's there. So, times are better. And that's another rant for another time, but you know what? Mid-budget films are a good idea. They can be profitable for their budget, and they should still exist. They should not all just be either micro-budget or huge, ridiculous budget. There's a place for $50 million movies, or $30 million movies in the case of Crazy Rich Asians. I guess is what I'm saying.
John, I think it is, though. I think a lot of these movies, we're saying, oh, you know, there's a place for them. The place for them is probably streaming services, as far as they're concerned, going forward.
What movies?
This level of budget, I think a lot of them are going to end up just going straight to streaming services.
This has just made $200 million, though. What are you talking about?
No, I know this one has, but as a rule, I don't think they push that many there. I think they still go, yeah, we'll take the safer cut of going to, well, you know, Netflix will give us this much.
Oh, sure,
that's a gamble for the theater, but
yeah, to an extent, yeah. But what I'm arguing is that there's still a room for a mid-level budget regardless of where it's going. Well, there's room for
I agree.
a mid-level budget theatre movie. And do you know what the funny thing is a lot of times when they do it, it actually works really well because their expectations to make a profit aren't super ridiculously high, and they achieve those those targets.
It's because they're like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see how it does. They don't overspend on the marketing for a start. They don't overspend on the budget in general, going, oh, it has to be this, this, and this. We've got to tick all these boxes. They go, well, I mean, yeah, we'll see how it does.
I will take a well-made $50 million movie over a cookie cutter 250 million one any day of the week.
Example A, see Transformers.
Example B, what was that kind of action movie that came out recently that I really liked? It was mid-level budget. There's been some. Upgrade. I liked Upgrade, was enjoyable, right? I will take Upgrade over his Transformers, and that is a fraction of that movie's budget. And it's just inventive filmmaking, for better or worse. That's what it is. But yeah, so that's why I love horror movies. Horror movies are dirt cheap to make, and then you just,
yeah, if they don't make a profit, well, we didn't lose much. If they hit the zeitgeist, oh boy.
Joe, what's exciting though? Halloween is tracking to be the biggest opening for the franchise. And all I can...
Why are you looking at the estimates?
I'm not looking at the estimates. I'm just seeing headlines saying it's tracking to be the highest. I don't know what the number is. I have no idea what the number is. I just know it's tracking to be the highest.
You just want it to beat Rob Zombie's ones. That's all you want.
Oh, of course I do. But here's what I'm thinking, though. And as much as a lot of them are good, and I have lots of favourites to talk about over the last decade, I am sick to death of Supernatural being the main horror genre that everyone's making right now. I am so ready for the slasher comeback. And if Halloween comes out and makes a fortune, oh, it's time, baby. It's time. It's time for machetes. It's time for knives. It's time for garden rakes, for pitchforks, for picking up blade of your choice.
Bayonets. I want a bayonet.
Bayonets. Weed whackers.
Do we ever have a bayonet? I feel like there must have been a bayonet one.
Yeah. Prowler might have used a bayonet.
I've seen Prowler.
Because he was a soldier. He was like a soldier-based slasher villain. So I assume that...
maybe he used a bayonet. I'm thinking out on the gazebo.
Yeah. That would have been a bayonet.
Maybe there was a bayonet.
He flipped between a few things, though. As a lot of them do.
Did.
I mean, even Jason, who's known for machete, will often use a variety of implements and tactics. But hey, so where was it? Yeah, so that was number 5 was Crazy Rich Asians. Number 6 was White Boy Rick with 4.8 million. Number 7 was Peppermint. Number 8 was Fahrenheit 11.9 with 3 million. Number 9 was The Meg with 2.2 million, and number 10 was Searching with 2.1 million. So there you go. Worth mentioning, Assassination Nation did open limited at 1 million at number 15. But
I'm looking forward to getting to see that.
Yeah, I'm into it. I've heard it's described as Mean Girls, but directed by like Tarantino, which is like...
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I know you don't like Tarantino, but I think what they're getting at is the violence and the...
I assumed so.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the trailer. I kind of know what they're talking about. I'm like, okay, I'm in for that.
I'm into it. So we're going to make some predictions then for both this weekend we're starting and next weekend. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do P and C for our two things. And for this weekend, Hellfest is opening. Night School, and we'll do Smallfoot as well.
Yeah, this is 3 movies I don't give a shit about, and literally you had to remind me what these were before we started. I was convinced there was nothing this week.
And then for next week, of course, we have Venom, as well as A Star Is Born. So
can you imagine if Star Is Born outgrosses Venom?
It would be amusing. I don't really care about either one, but Venom's the one that I'm going to force myself to see so I can review it.
You kind of actively want Venom to do shit, though.
Just because it looks bad. I mean, if it's surprising and ends up being good, then I'll be fine with it.
Then you want to do well, sure.
But yeah, so for this weekend first, we have Hellfest, Little Women, and Night School. Oh, sorry, not Little Women. Sorry, Smallfoot. There is a film called Little Women coming out, but it's like a limited release.
Don't confuse me.
I don't care. So Hellfest, the horror movie, horror theme park, which we will cover on streams after midnight, but it'll be later in October or maybe early November after Tim's back from getting married. We've stopped recording things now for him going off to get married, so don't expect it too soon. Anyway,
yeah. Oh, okay. 9 million.
9. I'm going to say 15. I feel like it might do a moderate amount. We're hitting October soon. I feel like that's a factor.
I think maybe just a little bit too early into October still. Another week, I might have bumped up a bit.
Night School, this is a Chris Hart comedy.
22.
22, okay. I am going to go... I'm going to go with 17. I'm going for a bit of an even spread here, I guess. Then Smallfoot is... That's what it is. I wrote down Littlefoot, but it's Smallfoot. So it's a Warner Brothers CG animated film about it's like a community of Bigfoots, but there's the little one.
And you insist we watch the trailer for this, but I have no memory whatsoever.
That is the only reason why I know what this is because I saw the trailer on Trailer Talk.
Oh, 15.
15. I will go with... this one's hard to gauge because this is the sort of thing where some kids movies just do kind of well just because they're kids movies regardless of anything else. And it's opening to more theatres than the other ones, so yeah, I'm going to say this. I'll say it takes it, but only 19 million. So for the record, you've got Night School at number 1, and I've got Smallfoot. No, I should I'll go correct that. We're right small on that.
Please do, because this will come out next time, and you'll be like, right, Littlefoot.
Smallfoot. Right, there we go. Right, so that's the guesses for the weekend. We're just getting into next weekend, though. We have Venom and A Star Is Born, 2 pretty big films, and obviously one's a bit more in our wheelhouse. I will be doing a written review of that and doing a scripted one. Matt says he might try and see it so we can do a Gigawatts discussion, but I wouldn't hold your breath. He was very adamantly against it the last time I asked him, but then he kind of changed his... I think he felt bad because everyone was like saying no. It's not Tim's fault. Tim's getting married, though. He's getting an excuse.
I just don't care, and it's not my job to care about Venom.
You think I care? You think I care?
Yeah.
It's not about caring. This is about reporting the facts.
Shit. There you go. Job done.
What are you guessing?
I'm gonna be optimistically shite and go with like 23.
Yeah, I am not going to be as optimistic as that. I think despite it looking like garbage and despite it being this weird thing, I still think it scrapes to like 50.
I mean, realistically, I agree you're probably much closer.
Yeah, which is not huge for us.
I've got to go with my heart.
That's not huge for a superhero movie, though. Of course, that'd be really disappointing if it was like, the next Guardians movie or whatever.
Like I said, I'm going with my heart.
Star Is Born, though. This is the Bradley Cooper directed, but he also stars in it with Lady Gaga. It's a musical based on the old story.
Yes, this is what, like the 5th version, 6th version.
Do you know what's really weird about this is I keep seeing like little, when you're browsing Twitter, you get those little like just gifs of things in the ads.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing Lady Gaga in it, and because she always looks so weird, like she intentionally always has this really weird style. Seeing her look like a normal human being is like really surreal. It's bizarre.
Yeah, as a fan of the marketing gimmick that she is, I actually really appreciate her style. No, I don't care, but I appreciate that. You know who she is because of the stupid shit she wore.
Well, yeah, that's my point though. When I watched this trailer back when we did this in Trailer Talk, until it told me that it was her, until it told me it was Lady Gaga, I didn't recognize her because she's always wearing weird things and weird sunglasses and the bleached blonde hair still back and whatever.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go optimistically and put this above Venom just because I really wanted to. I don't think it actually will, but 27.
Yeah,
I'm not going stupidly high.
I'm going to go with 24. I think it'll be about that amount, but I think Venom's still taking a bigger piece of the pie.
It probably is, but I'm going with my heart. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, so that is box office, which means we can go on finally to the news. Only 20, almost 25 minutes in to start the news section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start with the comic book stuff, as we typically do. The funny thing about being off for a couple of weeks before we came back to this is that there was a news story that would have been on last week's show where we had like a short list of cast for Birds of Prey. And then this week we'd have got confirmation of who was cast, but we can just skip straight to that part because
it's more interesting.
Yeah. So we have casting for two big characters in Birds of Prey. Both Black Canary and Huntress have been cast. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who we like a lot, from various things: 10 Cloverfield Lane, Fargo Season 3, Scott Pilgrim, if you're a quirky millennial, and a bunch of other stuff.
Scott Pilgrim is excellent.
Scott Pilgrim is good, but I feel like people in my generation overrate it.
No, it's excellent.
I'll tell you this, I hate the art in the comic book. I despise it with a passion.
What?
I hate it.
What?
I hate how it looks. And I hated how the video game looked as well, by extension. I hated the design of the characters.
I can't. You genuinely left me, speechless there. Like, what? How? It's gorgeous, that book.
Nah, I don't like it. I hate the style, and it's not as bad art. I just hate the style. It's just not for me.
Oh man,
it's the same thing with not liking how like Nintendo games look. I hate how Mario games look. They're all so bright and like.
Yeah, you hate fun and color.
No, I love color. I love vibrancy, but it's just so clean though. There's this weird like sterile feeling to it that I don't like.
It's got style.
Yeah, so the point I'm making at though is she's in here. She's going to play Huntress. She's playing Huntress. It doesn't actually say what her name is. Like what Huntress's name is.
No, I'm assuming Helena Bertinelli.
Probably that, but if you know the character from the comics, you know there's a couple of different versions, and one of them is actually the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. I don't think that'll be this version, especially if it's going to be in the same universe as everything else, and blah 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 blah.
Who knows if it is?
Oh yeah, at this point, who knows? But that's so that's cool. So we like her. That's cool. That's it. I will say oddly, I actually if I'm thinking about her, I think she's better suited to Black Canary.
I agree.
Because, and this is not to say she can't do Huntress. It's just that I have seen her have the right attitude for Black Canary and other stuff. I've seen her.
She would be an excellent Dinah.
That said, that's not to put down the Dinah we have, because we have Journey Smollett Bell, who was in Hidden Figures, who I'm not as familiar with, but I did see her in that. What I will say is that people were posting a lot of photos of both of these actresses, like next to pictures of the characters, because people do that when these things are announced. And I will say some people found some good images of her looking very Dinah-esque.
No,
so, it's all in the eyes. It was the eyes. Like it was like, okay, I can see Dinah in there.
No, fair enough. I didn't see these images. I know there was a bit of a backlash, as there always is.
I don't even. Every time a character is cast with a black actor when they weren't black in the comics or whatever the original thing was, we go through these motions. Shut up.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is I thought it was mildly amusing that they did this. This was the casting this way around, given that for the last good few handful of years that I can think of, Helena Bertinelli in the comics has been a black woman.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a different way around. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I care.
Nah. Honestly, my only hesitation here is that I'm worried that in a boardroom somewhere someone said black's in her name, so cast a black actor, and that was the thought process. Everything else I fully approve of, but I'm worried that somewhere the Power Rangers logic was what was at play behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, it's cool. And for anyone, because I know sometimes we get comments about, but how's it fair when it's not fair the other way around? Let me just make this very clear, very quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but yes, in an ideal world, in an equal world, it shouldn't matter one way or the other. Black characters can become white characters can become black, and Asian and Hispanic and whatever, right? But we're not in an equal world. That's the very key fact that you have to accept here, is we're not in an equal world, and 99% of white characters are only white because when they were created, that was the default. and it's very unbalanced as a result of that. That's why this kind of thing happens, and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on the actress specifically here because I've not seen her in anything.
I've only seen her on the one thing. It was a very sort of down to earth, like biopic role. It wasn't like this sassy superhero kind of thing,
Yeah, so I mean, I've got nothing to judge on, but I mean, I've not heard anything bad from what everyone's saying. Obviously, Mary Elizabeth said I like a lot.
Yeah.
I know that. That's a given fact. So looking forward to seeing her getting up in the purple.
Do you want to hear who they beat out in terms of, because we had the shortlist, of course, before this, and they were on the shortlist. So that shortlist was kind of confirmed by them getting the roles. Yeah. It's like, okay, now that they have been cast, we know that there was truth to that list. So Black Canary, it was between Smollett Bell and Gugu Mbatha Raw, who we do know, of course, from San Junipero, and she was in the new Cloverfield movie. That's funny, actually. She was also in a Cloverfield movie. But I
do like her a lot.
I do like her a lot as well. And she had a period earlier this year when she was in like 5 trailers over the course of like 3 weeks. It was weird
because you learned how to say her name.
Yes, gradually over those 5 trailers, I learned how to say her name, and that was fun. But so I like her a lot. So it's a shame she's not there. But I mean, the actress they picked seems quite good. And then in terms of Huntress, the other actors who were up for it included Sophia Boutella from Kingsman and the Leslie, remembered Mummy movie, Kristen Milioti, and Margaret Qualley, who we know from The Leftovers. She was Jill.
I'd have been down for any of these choices.
Yeah,
I like all of those.
Who's Milioti? Oh, I know who that. That's Black Mirror, USS Callister.
Yes.
Yeah. I like her too. Yeah, you're right.
All of those would have been great choices.
Yeah, all those sounded good. I'd have had no complaints no matter who they cast out of that list. So yeah, shoot for it.
Hey, maybe the casting people actually know what they're doing.
To be fair, the casting for like Man of Steel and stuff,
pretty good throughout. Yeah.
I mean, Lex Luthor aside. Yeah, Lex Luthor aside.
Yeah, everyone gets one.
I'm not including Suicide Squad in this, by the way, because there was a few blunders in there. Jared Leto being the.
Yeah, that's it. I think Margot Robbie's back in this one, right?
She is.
This is the one she's
honestly, my biggest complaint with this movie is that it's weird that Harley Quinn's fronting the Birds of Prey instead of Barbara. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for these other characters. I'm excited for Cassandra Cain. We don't know who's playing her yet. No shortlist for her. However, we did have a shortlist as well for Renee Montoya. No one's been cast in that role yet, so it's worth mentioning this.
Okay. I forgot Montoya was in this as well.
Yeah, Justina Mikado from One Day at a Time. Don't know who that is.
No.
And then from Vida, Roberta Colindrez. So I don't know who these actresses are, but there's names that have been thrown around.
Yeah, I mean, I can't have an opinion on this one. Yeah. But, I mean, at least they're thinking about it.
But there was other news for this movie as well.
There wasn't there?
Release date. We got a release date for this. This has been dated for February 7th, 2020, which is...
For now.
I mean, sure, but like I think you're jumped to be cynical, but I would say it's encouraging that they have 3 movies for 2019 and they've slotted one in an early slot now for 2020. It feels like they're going to try and be consistently coming out.
No, it does. I think it's interesting they didn't go the week later and go for the Valentine's slot. I wonder if
something's already got it. I bet something's already snagged it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they all plan their movies years in advance. Because it's worth mentioning they actually had this date as an untitled DC movie for a while.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, this was just them saying this is Birds of Prey now, as opposed to whatever else.
We're putting it in here.
Yeah, so Birds of Prey 2020. That's cool. So, and then there's another couple that I think are a bit further along that might be the ones that are also out in 2020, but we'll get more news as
we'll worry about those when we hear about them.
As we go, yeah.
So what we got next year? We got Shazam, Joker,
and
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yeah, that's it. Wonder Woman 84, yeah. So, this is an interesting slate. I'll just be curious to see if the movies start being more consistently good. Would be the main thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shit. We got Aquaman in like 3 months.
Yeah, Aquaman's really soon. But that's the thing, actually. The funny thing about Venom, and obviously it's not a surprise now because we've been speaking about it and predicting box office. But see, yesterday, if you told me Venom's out next week, I'd be like, "Shut up." No, it's not.
No, this is true. I saw an advert for it on a bus like 3 days ago, And I went, wait, that's out already?
Yeah. Snuck up. It's amazing how quickly they appear when you don't care about them. See, when you care about a movie, you're constantly counting down. And Halloween right now, I'm like, Halloween, it's only 4 weeks away, it's 3 weeks away. I'm counting down. Time's moving so slow. But when it comes to Venom, it's like, oh shit, a whole year went past and nothing happened. Just in an instant.
It feels like we only just got that first shitty trailer.
That is the power of caring and not caring about something. Speaking of DC shows, or DC movies rather, Alec Baldwin, of course, pulled out of Thomas Wayne, the role of Thomas Wayne in The Joker. We reported that last time we had an episode. But we had a replacement. Brett Cullen is going to step into the role. He mentions he was in Narcos, but he was also in Dark Knight Rises, funnily enough, in a really small role. He was like a senator in that. I know him mainly, actually, from Person of Interest. He's a character on that show.
Is this one of those fellas where I'll know his face?
I think you'll know his face. I actually see when we watched Iron Fist. He's not in that, but when we watched Iron Fist, the older Meacham, the dad, yeah. I thought he looked like him a little bit, and I thought it was this guy at first, and then I was no, he looks a bit different.
Okay,
but I think you'd probably recognize him. Yeah. But yeah, so not a big deal, but he's there. Also worth mentioning, this one we got a first look at Phoenix in makeup.
Did we not talk about this last time?
No. Well, even if we did, there was a second one with different makeup. So
there was, yeah.
There's more to talk about. But we got the first look where he's got, it's kind of like half Joker, half clown mask. But then there was a new one a couple of days ago where he's in a full-on clown suit. So I kind of guessed when we seen the first one. I think the reason why you think we spoke about this is because we spoke about it on Multiverse. Not movie news.
Sure.
Positive.
Okay, I could have sworn it was on here.
Because we've not had an episode.
I thought we talked about it with the Alec Baldwin news last time.
No, don't think so.
Okay.
But this, he's in like full clown makeup, and then the first one we got, he was in it was kind of clown makeup, but it was kind of closer to Joker. I think what this is telling me is that he's going to have multiple versions until he eventually gets to whatever the final Joker look's going to be.
Yeah, which they're going to keep hidden.
Till the trailer, I imagine.
I really wish they'd just keep it all the way.
Oh, I'd love that too, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, I hope that maybe if they just play up the clown enough for the marketing,
yeah,
and then they can hold that off, I would respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, I'll say I wouldn't say I'm excited for this movie, but I respect that it feels like a weird artistic vision. It feels like a filmmaker's idea, as opposed to
this does not feel like the boardroom going, we need a Joker movie. Come on, people.
No, because they've already done that. They've already got the Leto Harley one in production.
Yeah, no, this feels like I don't. In principle, I don't like it because it's a Joker origin story.
But if it's
I'm skeptical going in.
But if it's a weird, demented, psychological like mind f of a movie, then that'll be into it.
This might end up how I feel about Tim Burton's Batman, in that I think it's a horrible Batman movie, but I think it's a pretty good Tim Burton movie.
Okay.
This here might be a horrible Joker movie.
What if at the end of the movie...
But it might be a pretty decent, little crime thriller.
What if at the end of the movie, though, it breaks the fourth wall and it turns out that it's not actually the Joker in DC Comics, this is someone who's inspired by the Joker or something like that. They could pull something nutty like that.
Yeah, it could.
But hey, let's move on.
I respect it, at least.
Let's move on.
It's doing something.
I said, let's move on, damn it.
Fine.
We're on page 1 still.
Oh, for God's sake. Go on, then. I'll let you shut up.
Do you want to know how many pages we've got?
6.
You wish.
9. 12.
10.
Yeah, close enough.
So swing over to Marvel. We had some Marvelness things happening. And I wasn't... that was not a mistake. I wasn't trying to say Marvelous. I intended to say Marvelness.
You can't even say it now that you're trying to.
Now that I'm trying to remember what I said, I can't. But I wasn't trying to say Marvelous. Marvelness. Yeah. Marvelousness. Anyway, so this is not like a huge news item, but at the same time, the implications are like big to think about. That basically Bob Iger confirmed, like, oh yeah, when we get X-Men, Feige's running that. There's no point in having 2 Marvels. Like, no, that's part of the MCU.
No shit.
Yeah, it's not surprising. No one was really expecting anything different. But I think it's kind of a big deal for him to just come out right and that's happening. Like, as soon as we get them, he's having it.
Yeah. It kind of makes me disappointed.
Does it?
Yeah, because you know how I'm not really feeling the vision of the MCU. I don't really care.
Yeah, but I mean,
Whereas
the
I'd
X-Men
have
might.
liked a fresh take.
Yeah, but the X-Men might be the thing that shakes it up, like post Infinity
It
War
could.
2.
I think though what I'm feeling at the moment is Feige's direction is what I'm not feeling more than
Okay.
anything. So I was like, if someone else was doing that, their
I'll
own
put it
little
this way
thing
though.
with that universe,
This cannot be worse than where we are with X-Men with Fox right now. It can't be worse. That
they don't because they basically don't exist right now.
the Dark Phoenix trailer came out, and it was after trailer talk. We'll talk about it in the next trailer talk next week.
I've
But
not seen it yet because I don't give a shit. Because everyone went, eh.
yeah, it's so bland and forgettable. It's just going through the motions. Apocalypse felt like that as well. The actual movie felt like that. I mean, so obviously Logan was good, and people like Deadpool, but I'm not super into Deadpool.
I really like Deadpool.
But I really like. It's time for a fresh start. We need a proper Kitty. We need a proper Cyclops. We need a proper Jean Grey. And I'm not feeling any of this trailer at all. It just they need to be handed over to MCU at this point, just to do something different, to make proper versions of the characters.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want it to be taken off Fox and given to someone. But ideally for me, it'd be like, okay, here you do your version, your take on an X-Men world, but not necessarily MCU stuff. Someone else.
Make your peace with it though, because that's where it's going.
I know. Thankfully, I don't care too much about X-Men.
I like X-Men a lot, but I'm okay with them being the MCU. I think them being the MCU will make the MCU a much more interesting place.
Yeah, maybe.
So, anyway, moving on, sticking with kind of the Fox side of the Marvel things. So here's a weird thing. They've announced a date for a Deadpool movie, which is coming out December 21st this year.
What? Why are you not segueing? This is horrible. This is horrible structure. We were talking about Dark Phoenix, and then you went, "Oh, Deadpool."
I'm building up to it, right?
No, it's just horrible. But carry on.
I'm building up to it. There's a reason why I'm doing it in this order. Although it's not going to feel worth it now because you've been a dick and interrupting and trying to deconstruct it. But right, so react to that though. A Deadpool movie has just been announced for December 21st this year. Deadpool 2 just came out in May. React to that.
This would be shock. I can't react. I know what it is. I'm sorry. I can't.
I know you know what it is, but just like not knowing anything else about this, you hear there's a Deadpool movie coming out December this year.
Yeah, they really rushed that one through, didn't they?
Yeah, like that is insane. And then the speculation is that it's a PG-13 cut of Deadpool. Although later on there was an update, and now Deadline's thinking it's a PG-13 cut of Deadpool 2. But it will have some new stuff in it, and this is the weird thing. It will allegedly have Fred Savage as a narrator in the PG-13 version. It sounds like it's going to be like a PG-13 cut, but they're going to like really like make jokes about it and have like a bookend and have like narration and weird it up.
I almost want to see it just for the experiment, but like December's not busy enough. I mean, I know something might have moved out of December.
I'm getting that in a minute.
But I mean, it's still pretty packed, even with that.
Yes, I don't know. This is weird. I'll have to hear a bit more about it before I'd even.
This especially in December, this feels like they're just shitting it out, going, yeah, go on then. We'll put something out that week.
See, I don't feel that way. I think you're looking at it from the wrong angle. I think they have found themselves without something because something was there. We'll get to that in a second. And they're saying, what can we do? And I don't know if the studio said to Ryan Reynolds and co, like, hey, can you think of some funny way to re-release Deadpool 2? And they went, okay, leave it with us. I don't feel like they're shitting this out. I feel like someone's being creative because they're having to fill a slot. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, which is why I think...
It feels like, we need something in that slot. So what can we get? Oh, this'll do, right?
They're being creative about it, at least. I mean, I'll give them that.
I'm not going to go and see this in the cinema because
nor am I.
Too much to see in December, but I kind of want to know how it works out.
But that's just why I dispute the claim that they're just shitting this out. I feel like, no, if anything, the fact that they're putting this much effort into this says that this is way more than they probably should be doing for this now empty slot. They could just give the slot up, like whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
But now we've got this to deal with. But yeah, so now the way this article phrases it says to make way for the Deadpool release, this is moved. I'm pretty sure this other thing moved first, and then that's why this Deadpool thing's happening, not because they wanted the Deadpool thing in there for Christmas. Alita Battle Angel has been moved to February 14th. That's Valentine's Day 2019, which then moves Dark Phoenix, which, if you didn't remember this, was already delayed by like 8 months or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, we were supposed to have seen this months ago.
Yeah, it got delayed heavily. There's been reshoots, and what a weird time to delay your movie the day after the trailer came out.
Wait, when are we due New Mutants?
Oh God, February, I think. Oh no, it can't be.
It can't be, because it was last February,
April.
wasn't it? That it was.
It's April, I think.
Apparently, a quick Google says we're not due it till next August now.
Well, I think it got delayed again then, because I remember when it got delayed.
Yeah, it was scheduled for April 2018. Then it got pushed to February 2019, and now it's August.
Oh no, so I was right the first time. It was going to be February.
Yeah,
and then it got moved again.
February 22nd. I'm seeing here. Yeah,
because I remembered it being 10 months. I remembered it being February to or April to February.
April to February. Yeah.
So yeah, so now Dark Phoenix has been delayed. So both of these X-Men movies that they've got have been delayed multiple times, and there've been big delays. And both
after a trailer.
Yeah, but I mean, this one's at least only a day after the trailer. New Mutants get delayed like 2 months after the trailer came out. It was so weird.
New Mutants was at the point where I was seeing posters for it, around advertising.
Yeah, it was like a month and a half before it came out. It was like super soon before the release.
Yeah, it was like 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe.
So Dark Phoenix is now coming out in June 7th, 2019. 2 months before New Mutants, apparently. But we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah. I mean, more realistic than Gambit happening.
Funny you say that, because they also announced with this news that Gambit's got a new release date for March 13th.
Now that's how you take a segue.
March 13th, 2020. And all I can think is, but Disney will own everything by then.
I just laughed. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you say, Fox.
What's funny, actually, someone on the Facebook group pointed out, and I think this is actually a really good guess, is that the reason why they keep rescheduling this, even though it feels like it's never happening, is because someone, probably Channing Tatum, but maybe it's like a producer, someone else, will have a clause that says they get a payout if it doesn't get made. So they keep putting it on the schedule, because then legally, oh no, it's happening. It's happening. We don't have to pay you.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad guess.
It's not. It's never happening though, because all they have to do is delay it long enough till the merger, and then there'll probably be a clause in there to get out of things like that. Then.
Yeah, or they just want Disney to pay it. But at that point, it's out of Fox's hands.
Yeah, well, they don't give a shit. Yeah.
When was Channing Tatum announced as Gambit? It was like 5 years ago at this point, at least.
Yeah, a long time ago. I would say, I'll Google it, but I'm not going to find any results for that, because I'm just going to get Channing Tatum the Gambit delayed again.
Yes. I don't know. Anyway, so moving on. Speaking of delays, this one not being Marvel or X-Men related, Hellboy got pushed. Hellboy was meant to come out in January. It has now been pushed to April 12th, 2019, which is notable because it's 1 week after Shazam.
Okay.
And it's actually on the same day as the new Dr. Dolittle that Downey Jr.'s in.
I'm going to say that's a show of faith. I mean, the pessimist in me goes, no, they're like, okay, we'll just put it there.
For once, I'm going to be more pessimistic than you. I'm actually concerned that this is getting the Dredd treatment.
Yeah, that's the pessimistic side. The optimist side is, they go, I mean, it's a different audience that they're hitting there. They're going, maybe we can still fill that niche at that time.
It is R-rated, I believe. So, I mean, I guess it can coexist with a family-friendly talking animals movie. But
and even Shazam looks like it's pretty family-friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's... I mean, I like the cast involved. I want a good Hellboy movie. I'm down for it.
I mean, we'll see a trailer next week, I'm sure.
New York Comic Con's next week, so we're expecting a trailer.
We know they've got a panel, and I know David Harbour was teasing that we might see some footage, so
Yeah.
I'd expect a trailer.
I expect a trailer too. So Hellboy's been pushed to April 12th. Next up, Bryan Singer has surprisingly been hired for something, which I was not.
Why are we talking about Bryan Singer?
I was not expecting this. He's been hired to write and direct a Red Sonja movie.
Really? That's who they're going to go to for Red Sonja. That's where you're going.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, it was an Arnie movie in the 80s, which is I've never actually seen it, to be honest. But what's funny is that at one point in 2008, Robert Rodriguez was going to direct a Red Sonja movie starring Rose McGowan. Believe it or not, how times have changed.
See, now that I can see.
11 years. So yeah, I mean, she's got this harsh past. She's kind of linked with Conan, and she has this really dark backstory. And then she, gets revenge. She asks the gods for powers for revenge, and then she goes off for revenge. It's the whole thing. I'm not super familiar with the character, really, beyond just knowing the name.
I've read like one issue that Gail Simone did, because she did a big relaunch a few years ago.
Yeah, I know she changed a lot about the origin, so they might use her less
updated version.
Yeah, her less risky version of the origin.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Didn't care enough to keep reading, but yeah.
Yeah, Singer's they put out a statement saying they believe the charges and whatnot are that there's no merit to them, and that's why they're hiring them. That feels especially weird to me, given I feel like Bryan Singer, more than anyone, it felt like they were piling up, and to the point where he got fired off of Bohemian Rhapsody, partly not even just because of what he was going through with other charges and accusations.
Just being an unprofessional dick.
Yeah, he wasn't showing up, he was drunk, he was doing all these different things. So this is strange to me. And honestly, there's been so much about him in terms of the allegations that I don't know if I'm comfortable going to see a Bryan Singer movie now. I don't know if I want to.
No, and it's not like they were the best anyway.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever that great a director.
They were never like, oh, Bryan Singer's got a new movie, I want to see that. If this bombs because people are like, yeah, Bryan Singer, they're gonna go, see, leading ladies don't sell.
I think that argument actually won't work anymore.
Yeah.
But, I mean, assuming everything goes fine with the other movies that I'm about to mention, but after Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel's coming out, by the time this comes out, there's a good chance that we'll have Birds of Prey out already. I think by this point, that might be null and void. That may not matter anymore.
I hope so. My one concern...
A couple of years ago, you'd be right to say that. You would be right to say that.
No. My one concern still with you using those examples is they're all DC and Marvel movies, right?
Sure.
So they go, oh, only DC and Marvel can get away with it, is what other studios might say.
I mean, sure, but...
That would be my concern, but...
I mean, at this point, I don't even know how to battle that, really.
No, I mean, just, if it bombs, they'll be like, see, only they can do it. What's the point in trying? And I hope that's not the case.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the general news. We're at the comic book stuff now. So, first up, MGM and Eon Productions announced Cary Fukunaga as the director of James Bond 25.
Hell yeah.
It's coming February 14th, 2020.
Yep. I'm down.
Oh, there's your February. That's why Birds of Prey.
That's the one they're avoiding. Yeah. Interesting. No, I'm cool. Also, I know they rehired the new writer, obviously, because they had script writers before, but they got back the guys who did Spectre and Casino Royale. But basically, all the new ones except Quantum of Solace. So they're back writing this one.
Exciting stuff.
Hey, as a fan of all of those movies and not Quantum of Solace, because that's boring, I'm down for that.
I like Cary Fukunaga. I do not give a shit about James Bond, so you have your James Bond. Moving on, and speaking of spies, Kingsman 3 is a thing. It's got a release date.
Yeah.
And they've confirmed that Matthew Vaughn is back to direct, and
that was going to be my first question.
And he's co-writing with Jane Goldman again. And I'm just trying to shift the cat from being a nuisance.
I mean, so far you're speaking my language.
Yeah, that's basically that's the news. Is Matthew Vaughn's back, Jane Goldman's co-writing with him. It's coming November 8th, 2019. So just over a year.
I'm down.
And you know, I think Vaughn makes good movies. I really enjoy the Kingsman movies. The second one had some problems, but it was still really fun for all the action and everything else.
It wasn't as good. Let's agree with that. But hey, if someone put it on right now, hell yeah, I'd have fun watching it.
And they're saying this will be the capper to the trilogy. Not necessarily the last thing in the franchise per se, because I know there's talk of Statesman and spin-offs and
they're talking about doing a TV show, right?
Yeah, at one point there was a TV show thing. I wonder if that news has all just kind of disappeared, though. I don't know. I feel like I've not heard anything about any of that since.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, it was only a few months ago, right?
I think it was towards the start of the year now.
Really? I thought it was in the summer. But, I mean, I could be misremembering.
It doesn't matter. Point is, Kingsman 3 is happening November 8th, 2019. So, cool. And I'm glad it's a capper because I'd really like Vaughn to start making. As much as I like Kingsman, I want him to start making other things.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
So do other things as well, and I'll be happy. Next up, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has changed some casting. Of course, Burt Reynolds passed away, unfortunately, over the past couple of weeks, and Bruce Dern is going to step in and fill in the role. And he was friends with Burt Reynolds, so it's and he's worked with Tarantino before, so it's kind of a nice transition. It's the best you can have given the circumstances. So he is going to be. He's going to be in the movie, and that's the news. But I just want to add here the back. This is the next part of this article. He will join the cast that includes Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Al Pacino, Kurt Russell, Dakota Fanning, James Marsden, Michael Madsen, Tim Roth, Timothy Olyphant, Damian Lewis, Lena Dunham, Emile Hirsch, Luke Perry, Scott McNairy, and James Remar.
I wish I gave a shit because that's a pretty good cast.
Do you know what I think's impressive? Is I know who all of them are. There's not one name there that's like I don't know who that is.
Who stands out as the weak link?
I feel like Lena Dunham's the one that I don't know. I know the least about. I couldn't name you a thing she's been in, but everyone, because Joe, what I like about it is that some of them are kind of weird, cool picks as well. Like James Remar, Gambi from Black Lightning, and he's in the Warriors, and he's Dexter's dad, and all that stuff. He's a cool pick to have in there. And
then you've got James Marsden in the middle. You got to have a regular dude at some point.
Scott McNairy was in Godless. He was the blinding sheriff.
Yeah.
So hell of a cast is what I'm saying. Next up, Karen Gillan, of course, who was in the Guardians movies, Jumanji, Doctor Who, blah blah blah. She has joined Harrison Ford and Dan Stevens in a film called Call of the Wild. What is an adaptation of Jack London's famous 1903 adventure novel set in the Klondike Gold Rush. Gillan will play the role of Mercedes in the film, which will be adapted by a Logan scribe, Michael Green. So it's got Logan's writer doing the script, which is encouraging. The plot centres on the trek of prospector John Thornton, played by Ford, across the Canadian Yukon during the Gold Rush, and Dan Stevens rolls under confidentiality, but. You got a Gold Rush adventure. You got 3 good actors so far.
Yeah, I like all 3 of those quite a lot.
So this is I see potential.
You got a good screenwriter.
I wonder if Stevens is the villain or if they're just being secretive about him for some other reason.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm expecting a villain because it's an adventure. You need a villain.
You do.
Next up, 20th Century Fox has attached Ryan Reynolds to star in Free Guy. With Sean Levi going to direct this film. It is a Berlanti Productions film. So we don't even just get to hear about it in TV news now.
He's seeping into this now.
Yeah, movies are now being produced by Greg Berlanti. Oh dear. We always joke.
God damn it, that man is going to run the entire entertainment industry in a decade.
We always joke in the TV news that he has like 15 shows on the air, which is not that much of an exaggeration. It won't be soon anyway.
No, I think he actually holds the record now for having the most shows on air at once.
Yeah, well, so this was acquired as a spec script in 2016. Free Guy is in the vein of The Truman Show, where the bank teller stuck in his routine job discovers he's a background character in a rather brutal open-world action-adventure video game, and he is the only one capable of saving this world. Someone realizes they're an NPC in a video game.
Yeah, and you got Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I kind of see what this movie is tone-wise.
I don't know. I'm worried it's going to be that one that he did with Jeff Bridges, with the like dead cops.
R.I.P.D.
Yeah, I never saw it, but it looked like shitty Men in Black knockoff
It
garbage.
looked like the glorious trash that I want to watch at 2 a.m. while I'm drunk.
I'm worried this is going to have that look to it. But if it looks
Yeah.
better, it is wittier, then sure, I'll give it a try.
Oh man, I'm definitely gonna watch R.I.P.D. when I'm drunk soon.
Next up, Michael B. Jordan, of course, from Black Panther and Creed and other such works. He is in negotiations to start and produce a film series based on the popular John Clark character. Who, you ask? Everyone's crying out. Who's John Clark? He's a Tom Clancy character.
Should have known with a generic name like that.
Yeah. It's all Johns and Jacks and things.
Did we speak about this already? Because I feel like, this is so forgettable that I have a vague memory of going, yeah, that's a Tom Clancy name.
Nah, we didn't. I'm sure we didn't.
I'm not sure.
This is like the third or fourth thing you've questioned. Have we spoken about this already? I'm telling you, I only went back to certain dates when I was looking for news. We did not speak about this already.
I think the news sites are tricking you somehow.
Anyway, John Clark deal is expected to be closed soon. Akiva Goldsman producing alongside Michael B. Jordan. The word is the studio is developing 2 films based on the novels Rainbow Six and Without Remorse. The latter serving as an introduction of the character and his backstory. John Clark, aka John Terrence Kelly, equally generic sounding, first appeared in the 1987 Jack Ryan novel The Cardinal of the Kremlin, before getting his own story in Without Remorse in 1993, which is the first movie. Clark is a former Navy SEAL who became an operations officer for CIA. I'll just say the CIA. It feels weird saying the whole thing. At one point, he served as Jack Ryan's bodyguard. So I don't think I'm going to do any crossovers. Really? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do any crossovers with the show, but it's interesting all the same. Also, that would mean that there's Jack Greer and Jack Clark with John Clark and John Greer with Jack Ryan. Aye.
No, it was Jim Greer.
Jim Greer.
Man, he really likes the J's.
Jesus Christ.
You got a John, Jack, and a Jim.
Which was actually true of Lost as well, but with Lost you didn't realise that until like halfway through the season, because John Locke went by Locke. No one ever called him John. It was Locke. Right? Jack was Jack, and then eventually you found out Sawyer, who was always Sawyer, that his name was James. So eventually you went, wait, there's a John, Jack, and James in this show, but no one referred to them as that, so it didn't really matter. But Jack was the only one that actually went by Jack. Anyway.
Dick.
But yeah, on the big screen, he was previously portrayed by Willem Dafoe in Clear and Present Danger and Liev Schreiber in The Sum of All Fears. So, Jack Ryan movies. But no, John Clark movies.
Same thing.
It sounds like the same thing, doesn't it?
You're telling me he's an ex-Navy SEAL and now he does other shit.
He's not an ex-Marine, that's the difference.
Yeah, it's basically the same.
I hope he's got a very different personality.
The Navy SEALs and Marines, but I mean, come on.
In terms of someone who has some sort of military or whatever background, or some sort of combat background, and now they're like just try to have a desk job, but then get put back on the case, or
it's the same goddamn thing.
Although I don't think
how did Tom Clancy make such a living off the same thing over and over?
Because conservatives love to read about America beating foreigners. That's what the appeal is.
Yeah, sure.
That's what made it popular. Anyway, moving on. Captain America: Civil War star Anthony Mackie is going to join a Private War star Jamie Dornan, and they're going to top line a sci-fi thriller called Synchronic. I think we spoke about this movie at one point because the premise
sounds familiar.
The premise sounded familiar. This is coming from the Endless directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. The pair will play 2 New Orleans paramedics whose lives are ripped apart after encountering a series of horrific deaths linked to a designer drug with bizarre otherworldly effects. So it's got a bit of a twist there. Yeah, so that's interesting. I like Anthony Mackie, so that's cool. Here's something. Mel Gibson's getting work again. He is going to write and direct a remake of The Wild Bunch for Warner.
You say getting work again. He had like an Oscar-winning film like 2 years ago.
I forgot about that, to be honest. I feel like the last time I seen him involved in anything was Expendables 3. But I mean,
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough.
You know,
Fair-
he had Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, fair enough. I never saw that. But he's a good director. For all his faults, he's
Yeah,
actually a good
excellent
filmmaker.
movie.
And he's a good actor as well. He for all his faults, when you actually watch him in his movies, especially of his older stuff, he has so much charisma. Because that was the thing when I saw Expendables 3, and obviously he's had a bit of a real world personal life. He's just all over the place, and there's a lot of reasons to think he's a dickhead. But he's got the talent to mask it when he's in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, well, a bunch group of aging outlaws look for one big last score in the traditional American West. It's disappearing around them. The industrial age is taking over, and they're trying to just get one last big score before that happens. They are pursued by a posse led by a former partner they double-crossed. Sam Peckinpah wrote the script with Wollen Green, and he also directed, of course. It was often considered violent, exceptionally violent back when it came out. But I mean, these days it's like, nothing.
It's pretty tame.
But for 1969, it was like extremely violent. I have to admit, I saw this a few years ago, the original, and I wasn't super into it. Like, there was parts of it I liked, but it felt a little bit plodding to me when I watched it.
I've never seen it, but
Maybe.
would you be down for a tightened up remake?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd watch
it. Sounds fun enough.
I'd watch the original again though. I feel like it may be one that gets better with my expectations in check.
You definitely didn't hate it.
Because I think going into it, I knew kind of what the ending was going to be. Because there's a phrase in Hollywood that says "pulling a wild bunch," so I just knew how it was going to end. Because that's what a wild bunch is. You pull a wild bunch, but yeah. So that's that. So yeah, again, Mel Gibson's actually a really good director. So this could be a very intense movie. Should he bring his A game? So.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
So, yeah. Next up, Space Jam 2 has been confirmed. LeBron James
Was it not before?
Well, I think it was confirmed it was happening, but LeBron James is officially in it. Ryan Coogler is producing it. Of all people, Ryan Coogler is producing Space Jam 2.
I feel like I knew this already. I feel like that was something that we knew way back, or at least it was rumored.
No, this is the specific announcement this week: is that Ryan Coogler's producing it.
I wonder if it was rumored. Like it was like, he might be involved, sort of thing.
I don't know. Can I bring up a news story this week without you second guessing that it's already been a thing for a while?
No. This isn't me saying, "Oh, we spoke about this." This is just that was already in the back. Like when you said that, I was like, yeah, like I already knew that, and I've not read this week. I've not read anything about Space Jam 2.
Well, I don't know. I think you're just being weird because I literally had no fiber in my being expecting Ryan Coogler until I read this. So
yeah, maybe I'm getting really bad deja vu tonight.
Well, maybe because you're on your sixth drink. That may be something to do with that.
I'm on my fourth. Screw you.
You're losing count as well. So Space Jam 2, Terrence Nance is directing. And that's going to be in production next year during the NBA offseason, because obviously LeBron James is actually still an active basketball player.
Obviously.
I don't know if was Michael Jordan active when Space Jam came out. I mean, I wouldn't know. So why am I asking that question? I don't know. But
I just want to add, you just missed me take a drink straight out of the bottle because you weren't even paying attention.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight your point of don't know how much you're drinking. I thought it'd be funny. You didn't even look.
Well, good, because the audio people don't get that joke either. So.
No. All the YouTube people just saw that and he's like, I didn't even notice.
No. I was looking over it just for all the details.
Yeah.
So what's funny is I have heard of LeBron James for whatever reason, but Michael Jordan, I only knew who that was growing up because of Space Jam. So
LeBron James, Cleveland. I want to say I've got in my head. It's shouting Cleveland.
What's the team in Cleveland though?
I don't know.
I want to say Cavaliers, but I don't know if I'm just. There's definitely a team. There's definitely a team called the Cavaliers. I don't even know if it's basketball though.
Cleveland's basketball. Oh, Cavaliers.
Yes, Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes.
Let's see if LeBron James is. I don't know.
To be fair, he might have moved around. They can swap teams and stuff, so it's not like he has to have been there the whole time.
Yeah. Oh no, he started off at Cleveland.
But he's not there now.
No. No, he did another bit a few years ago. He's at LA now, apparently.
Lakers.
Yes. How do you know these?
Well, Lakers is easy. I feel like most people should know Lakers.
I did no idea.
LA Lakers and Chicago Bulls. They're the ones that most people should know.
No, I could have done the Bulls.
Yeah.
That one sounds familiar. The others, nothing.
How I got Cavaliers though, I don't know. That I pulled that.
How I don't. Given that I didn't even know Lakers, how the hell did I have Cleveland in my head for LeBron James? This is like the most sporting knowledge I've ever had when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, I know 3 basketball teams. Look at me go.
That's an achievement for us.
It's more than I know about the American football teams, I'll tell you that. Eagles. There's one called the Eagles, I'm sure of it.
The Dodgers?
Oh, no, Dodgers is baseball. That's LA.
Baseball? Huh.
That's the LA Dodgers.
Rams. Is that football?
Probably. I feel like I could play in a lot of baseball ones, actually, because you Dodgers, you got the Red Sox, the White Sox, you got the Knicks. That's New York, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, we watched season 1 of Pitch. I should remember more of these names. What team was she on?
Oh. We are not sports guys.
Okay, whoever the Eagles are, it's Philadelphia. But I don't know what sport it is. It's definitely
that's football.
It's definitely the Philadelphia Eagles.
Do you know why I know this?
It's Always Sunny.
Yes, because there's the episode where they do the tryouts and they're playing football.
Yes, that's right. I remember that episode. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That show taught me something.
Oh God. The only hockey team I can name those are the Ducks, the Mighty Ducks, from Anaheim. Assuming they're still a thing.
Matt would be angry at you.
Oh yeah, what was his team from Vegas?
Knights.
Vegas Knights. That's it. Vegas Knights.
Yeah.
There we go.
And again, it's just because Matt yells "Go Knights" all the time.
yes. All right, back to the news. Starting page 5.
Halfway.
Jesus Christ! I want to make a note about something. What was my note about? It wasn't even that last one. Oh, was it the Whale Bunch one? I don't know.
I don't know. What sort of note were you making?
Just don't know what. I make notes occasionally.
Ooh, get you.
So later on I can cut parts of you out to make you sound stupid.
I bet you do.
I'll do some ADR for myself so that
You know what, the other was I never check these.
Yeah.
You could do anything.
Sometimes I like to go and research something and then come back and ADR my own voice so that it sounds like I was really knowledgeable about something, and then you look like an idiot just sitting there like, oh, I don't know any of these things. And I'm actually joking here, just in case anyone thinks that any of that sports talk was not just pure out of my ass. That was out of my ass.
No, that was legitimate bullshit.
Celtics. There's a basketball team called the Celtics.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm only familiar with Celtic.
No, there's
proper football.
There's the Celtics. Yeah. Oh, I think you've said that. There's a team called the Rangers as well. But I think it's basketball. Yeah, I think it's a different thing. Anyway.
We're so bad at this.
Enough of stupid sports talk.
Yeah, movies.
Movies, yes. So, The Editor. That's what we'll talk about next. Fox 2000's option Stephen Rowley's novel called The Editor. And get this. Producing it is Greg Berlanti.
You are shitting me.
Not only that, he is directing this.
Oh, that man is making waves.
Greg Berlanti is now directing and producing films. Feature films. None of your snazzy little short things or anything like that.
I can't wait for the documentary of, Greg Berlanti Takes Hollywood.
I'm expecting a documentary in like 50 years about how coked out of his head he was because he's doing so much. He's constantly snorting cocaine just so he has the energy to do all these things.
Stay awake. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, the novel revolves around an author and his world-famous editor, Jacqueline Kennedy, Onassis. I feel like it says that like it's based on a real person, as if I might know who that is. It's a really specific, just author named Jacqueline. It's fine. After she embraces the latest novel from the long struggling writer and buys it for Doubleday. This seems like a dream come true as she coaxes him into finishing of a candidly autobiography novel about his dysfunctional family. Unfortunately, the weight of exposing his family to the ridicule prompts the writer to lock up, and he cannot finish the manuscript. As the writer and his editor bond, she encourages him to write an authentic ending. After he heads home to confront the truth about his relationship with his mother and deal with a long-held family secret. Let's be honest, I put this in the news because Berlanti was directing it, and I wanted to talk about that. The actual premise of the thing, I have nothing to say about.
I don't think I've ever seen him direct anything. Not even an episode. I mean, maybe he has, and I just don't know.
Yeah, but maybe. I bet if you go back to the start of the Flash or Arrow or whatever, he probably did an episode or something. But
yeah,
we just never noticed.
It'd be really easy to check, wouldn't it? just to look at his IMDb and go director.
Okay, somewhere between the 9th and 10th drinks, look up if Berlanti directed.
Why are you adding so many? He's got 5 credits as a director. I've seen none of them. Love, Simon, though. That was a movie that was pretty recent.
Did he direct that?
Apparently, yeah.
I had no idea he directed that. Good
no, me either. Apparently, he's directing Booster Gold, which has been announced according to IMDb.
Oh, yeah, we knew that. Yeah, I vaguely remember that news. But it's been so long since that news happened, and DC announced so much shit that I'd forgotten about it. All right. Next up, so Carol and Unchiseled Beach producer Stephen Woolley are developing a remake of Akira Kurosawa's Ikaru, and it'll be set in London in the 1950s. So it's the same time period, but it's set in London instead of Japan, obviously. If you don't know, Ikaru follows a bureaucrat who is trying to find meaning in his life after he's discovered that he's dying of cancer. He's on his last days. So he's trying to make amends with his family, and he's trying to figure out what his life's meant. Very personal film, of course. Very good film. I recommend it. But they're going to do a remake.
Not that confident in it.
Now, I'll give them this though. Doing a remake in London makes me think of westerns, copying these movies, and I will just do like a western version of Seven Samurai and so on.
Yeah. I mean, we have a long history of adapting / remaking Kurosawa movies.
Yeah. To be fair, I know Carol was very well received. People loved. I never saw it, but people loved that movie.
Did they?
Yeah, people were really raving about that the year it came out a couple of years ago. So maybe it'll be a good drama. Maybe they'll knock something up.
Yeah, maybe.
Moving on, Vertical Entertainment has acquired the North American rights to Beyond White Space, a sci-fi movie directed by Ken Loxmande. After making his feature filming debut after a VFX career that includes his work on Fight Club, The Matrix, and others. So he's a VFX guy who's now transitioned to director, which doesn't typically always have the greatest results, but you never know. There's no reason why this guy couldn't be good. So theatrical release is going to happen. It stars Holt McCallany, Zalea Hineo, and Dave Sheridan. Here's the plot. The film is set in 2150. It specifically points out AD. I would assume that, to be honest. When you start talking about spaceships, I was going to just assume that.
No. If you tell me it was BC in the spaceships, I'm way more interested.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why you'd specify it, because that's like an interesting thing, but I'm just going to assume AD otherwise. Anyway, during the final harvest of the season, a deep space fishing vessel encounters a rare creature, mammoth in size and highly territorial. Matters get worse when a vicious band of scavengers intercept the vessel, leaving them with nothing. With no cargo and few supplies, the crew make a daring decision to venture into uncharted territory and attempt to capture the creature for a large black market take. So basically everything's robbed from them, and they think, well, let's risk trying to capture this creature to make up for everything we've lost. Simple enough premise. Sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, cool. I'd expect it to look good, if nothing else, if it's coming from a VFX guy.
What I'm wondering is, though, it mentions a fishing vessel, so I'm assuming they're landing on a planet to fish, and it's the creatures on a planet, or are we talking like actual space whale thing?
I'm thinking space whales.
Very
possible. I'm going to be disappointed if it's not.
The vacuum's a bit of a thing to get over, though.
Look, how many properties have space whales?
Not enough.
Lots. Yeah, no, not enough, but lots do. Yeah. And space whales are always appreciated.
Next up, so this is a film that's finished shooting, but I did not know this was happening. So this is called Girl on the Third Floor. It's a thriller, and it stars CM Punk. So shame Matt's not here to get excited.
Yes, this is one of the few wrestlers who I know who they are.
Yes, yes. Phil Brooks is his name, but yeah, CM Punk.
I couldn't have told you that.
It's his. I think it's his first movie. I don't know. It's the first movie for Queensberry Pictures, who produced
No,
it.
he was. Was it not him who was in that animated, the one with the bull, animated bull? Like last year was a Christmas release ish.
I have no idea what you're talking
I'm
about.
sure. Look, this was a thing, and I'm pretty sure it was him.
I would love nothing more for this not to be a thing, and you've just made up a movie starring
No,
CM Punk and an
there was
animated
an
bull.
animated bull. I didn't see it, but it was a thing. I'm pretty sure it was CM Punk doing the voice.
Anyway, here's the premise of this while you're looking things up. So, yeah, he stars as Don Koch, a man who is failing as a husband. He now vows that he views that fixing up an old house as a chance to make up for past mistakes. Meanwhile, his wife Liz Koch is concerned about his renovation timeline as they have a baby on the way. As Don tears the house apart, it begins to tear him apart as well, revealing the rot behind the drywall.
Okay.
Did you find your bull movie?
I was half right. There was a movie animated with a bull called Ferdinand, but it was John Cena.
A very different
close
wrestler.
Close enough.
All right.
Honestly, my only exposure with CM Punk is I'm pretty sure he wrote a few comics that I've read.
He did. And Matt likes to talk about him.
Yeah. So I'll pull the other one because I'm going through that one pretty quick. Yeah, screw you. I'm having a fifth drink. Yeah, see that fifth.
Fifth to the power of two, more like.
They're just rather large drinks. What do you want me to say?
That takes us out of the horror section, and we're starting off with a release date and title for the sequel to Happy Death Day, which I'm excited about because I really liked Happy Death. That was one of my biggest surprises last year. I really had a lot of fun with that movie. That's coming out on Valentine's Day 2019. Fun date for it, and I actually...
So it's going up against Bond.
No, that's 2020.
2020, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's boring then. Never mind.
But I love the title.
I've got to wait that long for Bond.
Oh, boo-hoo. This Happy Death Day sequel is called Happy Death Day to You.
You look far too impressed by this.
That's good. It's good. Don't worry. I wish the U was spelled out like the word U. It's just it's to you, like the letter U, but whatever. But
and the number 2.
Well, no, but it should be the number 2 because it's the sequel. I get why it's number 2,
yeah.
But yeah, Happy Death Day to You. That's perfect. I mean,
I get it.
There's no fun title for the third one, admittedly, if they're going to do one, but still. It's a fun title. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, I like the first one a lot. It's a Blumhouse joint. It's coming February. I'm excited. Good stuff.
Cool.
Next up, Deadline has confirmed that Aquaman director and Conjuring franchise maestro James Wan is producing a feature-length version of the Santiago Mangani short Milk. This was a short film.
Is this what he's going to be known as now? The Aquaman director. That feels weird.
Yeah.
Given his career, we're going to go, oh, they are Aquaman director.
Yeah, but he's producing this film called Milk. It was a short film that won Best Midnight Short at South by Southwest in March. So we're getting a full-length thing. And it's it's the same guy who made it is directing the full-length one. And there's two guys writing it. Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski are writing the script. And they recently wrote Blumhouse's film Stephanie, which obviously is not out yet, but we'll see if it ends up being good. But here's the premise. On a late night, a young teen goes into the kitchen for a glass of milk. Upon encountering his sleepless mother, he quickly realizes things are not as they seem. I love that that's all it is.
Oh, okay.
He gets up for a glass of milk. His mother's weird. Come back for more later.
Yeah.
I like it.
Sure.
I like that he just gets up in the middle of the night and weird things start happening, and then it's like just a night of hell or weirdness or whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm with it.
I'm down for it. So that's Milk, produced by James Wan. Speaking of James Wan, he's also producing a film for New Line Cinema, which makes sense because given that he made the Conjuring films there. But
Yep.
New Line has they've not secured it completely yet, but they're now in the front running to secure the rights to do a English speaking remake of Train to Busan, which is a zombie Korean film.
Because reasons.
It's
Hollywood.
It's a very good film, might I add. So Gary Doberman is going to write it. James Wan's producing. Unfortunately, Doberman just wrote The Nun, which
I was thinking his name sounded familiar.
I mean, admittedly, having seen The Nun and hating The Nun, I can tell you that the script's not great, but it's the direction that completely ruins it.
It's not entirely his fault.
Like, there's moments where you could be like, oh, this could be an effective scene, but it's the way it's shot, it's the way it's edited, it's all that stuff that completely just takes it to shit.
But I mean, I've not seen Train to Busan yet. Maybe October will be the time. Maybe. But from everything I've heard about it, this feels like a. Why are we remaking this? Why? Just watch the original one. It was like 3 years ago, if that. Maybe 4 years ago. Can't remember.
2016. 2 years ago.
Oh, see, I'm overestimating. It's even more recent than I thought.
I assume it'll be a different destination, though. You know, it'll be train to...
Yeah. Train to Chicago.
Yeah, whatever. That doesn't sound right.
No, but you can't do New York, because everyone does New York. You can't do Train to New York. Everyone does that.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Chicago doesn't sound right, though. You ought to...
It doesn't. It was just a callback.
I feel like you ought to pick a small town that not it's not well known. So you just get a cool, unique name.
Yeah, I don't know any.
I wasn't expecting you to. I'm just saying that you pick, rather than a well-known city. Unless they just set it in Korea, and that's part of the charm of it, is that you've got this English father and daughter on a train.
Is it even more pointless if you said it in Korea?
I don't know, maybe. The main film's really good, though. Outside of being on a train and being zombies, it's about a father trying to transport his daughter across country when the zombie outbreak happens. It's very inventive. It's got a lot of great set pieces where you get on the train, off the train, on the train again, having to sneak through certain areas. It's got a lot of really inventive sequences.
A lot of things to do with a train, by the sound of it.
Well, obviously, it's set on a train. But it's got a really good villain character. It's got a really good mix of... characters overall.
That's something that is unusual in a zombie movie, to have a villain.
Oh yeah, there's a villain. But hey, so Annabelle's getting a sequel.
Of course it is.
Annabelle 3 has got Captain Marvel and gifted star McKenna Grace as one of its leads. She's a kid star. She's going to play Judy, the Warrens' young daughter, who becomes the target of the demonic doll Annabelle. I do like that it's the daughter of the main characters from The Conjuring. I mean, that's potentially more interesting and relevant.
But equally, it's yet another Conjuring spin-off, so why should I give a shit?
I can't argue with that, but the movie will turn on the experiences of Judy's two teenage babysitters. Wait, so she's still she is still a kid, of course. So is this set when they're off, doing another case? And there's babysitters at the house, yeah.
So this one's coming after... We're still getting the Crooked Man, right?
Yeah, but we've not heard about that in a while, so this might come first.
Right, okay.
And The Nun did well, so expect The Nun 2 to happen.
Yeah.
That's happening. Yeah, Annabelle sucked balls. Annabelle Creation was better, but overall still mediocre. I can't say I'm excited at the prospect of Annabelle 3.
No, I don't care.
Revenge of the Doll. Ugh. Next up, Film Nation Entertainment has optioned the rights to the English language remake of the 2017 Norwegian film Thelma.
Sorry, it's just dawned on me. Are we in the horror section now?
Yeah.
Did you announce that?
I did. So somewhere between drinks 11 and 13 in that range, I announced it.
I don't think you did. I think you're just covering this up.
No, I did. I swear I did.
I really don't think you did.
I literally
you
started.
You have to back me up on.
I started the section saying, and now onto the horror section, and I went into the first story.
Maybe I just don't listen to you.
Do you know what's funny? Throughout this show, you've been second guessing some of the stories, the stuff we already had in the past. But this is one where you're second guessing something that happened on this very show.
you claim happened on this show.
That takes us out of the horror section. That takes us out of the horror section. That takes us out of the horror section.
That takes us out of the horror section.
I don't claim. I remember saying it. In fact, I remember saying it so much that when we get to this point in the show, I'm going to put it back in. I'm going to do a flashback to me saying it in the middle of this argument, just so that the audience knows for sure.
I need to get a little harp run for you, but I don't have one ready. So, yeah, a little flashback harp sound.
I want a harsh cut. I want you being adamant that this is made up just to cut to me saying it. Harsh cut.
Yeah. You're at least going to give it a filter. Flashback filter.
Sure, I'll put it in black and white. Whatever.
There we go. I appreciate it.
Right, so yes, so this is I, Tonya and Lars and the Real Girl director Craig Gillespie is on board for this.
Okay. I'm interested.
Lars and the Real Girl is a very good film, actually. I saw Thelma earlier this year. Me and Tim did this in Screams.
Yeah,
so,
I remember seeing it pop up at some point.
Yeah, so I have basis here to discuss the film. The original was directed by Joachim Trier and follows a college student as she starts to experience extreme seizures while studying at university. A religious girl who tries to deny her feelings for a female friend who's in love with her. She soon learns that the violent episodes are a symptom of a dangerous, suppressed psychokinetic power. So,
was it good?
It was pretty good.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I would say that the psychokinetic power stuff was the weakest part of it, because the first half of the movie is just this like slow drama about her being like this, coming from this religious family and being attracted to this girl and kind of like struggling with those feelings, and that stuff is fantastic. Like the actual drama stuff in this movie is excellent.
Okay.
And the other stuff doesn't ruin it by any means. It just like, it felt like I don't even need this. You could have just kept doing it.
See, normally, I'd have gone, oh, okay, the American version will really lean more into that, powers stuff. But given this director,
yeah,
the quirky drama is kind of his shtick.
Yeah. So I feel, and it may not even be a horror movie by the time he's finished with it. Because it was debatable how much of a horror movie it was in the first place. There's a couple of, because of her power and because of the dangers of her power, it veers into horror here or there. But overall, I'd argue it's actually more of a drama with this extra layer of...
Yeah, okay.
But...
a slightly supernatural drama.
Yeah. But I'll blame Board Now, one of our regulars, for putting this on the Crypt or Patreon suggested list of movies. We critiqued him heavily in the episode for putting this on because we didn't feel like it was maybe that much of a horror movie. But to keep it consistent, I've kept it in the horror section. So yeah, so Board Now, you're on notice. Next up, young actor Gabriel Bateman, who was in Lights Out, is going to star in the Child's Play remake. A lot of remake talk this week in the horror section. Interestingly though, Joe Hellis is in it. Who's playing the mum? The mum of the kid.
I think I saw this and I was shocked myself.
In Child's Play, Aubrey Plaza is now the mum in a movie.
I did see this and I was like, really? Already?
I feel sold right now.
Yeah. How old is she? Can't be that old.
Like 33 or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird. She always plays younger though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's
so quirky and weird that she always feels younger, but
I swear it was like 2 or 3 years ago. She was playing in that movie with Anna Kendrick, where they're the awful people trying to get the boyfriends, and they're like clearly like meant to be like early 20s.
Yeah. This is Orion Pictures. Brian Tyree Henry's also in it. So obviously the kid's playing Andy. She's playing the mum.
Orion Pictures still making a thing.
Yeah, still making things. So it's Lars Klevberg, who did Polaroid, which I've not seen, is going to direct it. It's his second film. And like the original, it follows a mother who gives her son a toy doll for his birthday, unaware of its more sinister nature. There was actually the first image of the doll was put out this week as well. You saw it was like a poster of his face. It looks like Chucky. It looks a little bit more... It looks slightly altered, but it still kind of just looks like Chucky.
Can't really complain, can you? But I suppose
I can
that's the
complain.
one thing that you expect to be the most recognizable thing.
I can complain that the original franchise is not finished yet, and they're still making more stuff with the original writer on board for everything.
Yeah.
That
Is this the one where it was like the different rights holders?
yeah, like MGM, who have given it to Orion. Like they can make Child's Play movies, but I don't know if they can make Chucky movies.
Is this the one we heard about a while ago, where it was like a cyborg thing?
It's
like
more
a
of a robot
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That this one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Assuming that's still the same. I mean, nothing about that image or what they've said here implies robot, but it still could be a robot.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm just trying to keep track of it all.
Yeah, but hey, so Child's Play. I mean, I like Aubrey Plaza, so I mean that has that
That's
going
not
for it. So next up, where are we? Paramount Pictures is developing a film called Happy Anniversary, based on a script by Holly Bricks. Platinum Dunes is on board to make it with them. It is described as War of the Roses meets Cheap Thrills. The plot follows a happily married couple's anniversary celebration, which goes awry when they find themselves victims of a sinister home invasion. And that's it. Not a lot to go on. Sounds like a fine enough premise.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Those 27 drinks are starting to affect Connor.
No, it's not. I've still got a bit of a cough. As people who have been paying attention will have noticed. You're just too busy reading your other screen to see me choking himself.
Oh, I'm noticing. I'm quietly enjoying every second of it. Next up, A24 has acquired the North American rights to In Fabric. This is Peter Strickland's stylish horror film that just had its premiere at the Toronto Film Festival at the Midnight Madness section. It's getting a 2019 release. It is about a lonely woman who buys a curse gown from a strangely sinister London area department store. That's all we get.
Okay. I mean, A24 have a good track record of going for quality and style.
Outside of Slice, that's their first major.
Is that an A24?
Yeah, that is the first thing I've seen from A24 where I've just went, that was shit.
Oh, okay.
They've had their first negative mark.
It didn't look like an A24 film from when I watched the trailer. I mean,
the logo was there, but sure.
I mean, yeah, sure, but I don't remember it.
But yeah,
fair enough.
That's In Fabric. That's an interesting enough premise, I guess. I wonder if it'll do like some sort of like Doctor Strange cape stuff where it's like strangling her.
Oh god,
asleep.
I hope so. That'd be so fun. Yeah, let's do that.
We're actually back over to Orion Pictures. Orion's making movies. Look at this.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Well, a few projects recently. There's two in this one. Come on now. Orion's picked up the remake rights, like another remake. This is one I hadn't heard of though. This is Rokar, which is the original language. It translates as Rift. It's a psychological horror film from Iceland, which is gay themed. So they've set Erlinger Thordarson, it's a proper Icelandic name, a rising genre auteur who wrote and directed the 2017 movie to write the English language. So there's him writers writing it, although presumably there'll be a different director. The movie follows two men whose broken relationship is tested as they are haunted by a supernatural entity awakened by their grief. So it sounds like the pain of the relationship manifests an actual entity.
Yeah, I mean, this all comes down to style, because that's so simple.
Yeah, apparently got a lot of praise. It said it was like a really prominent. The way it used it's the relationship with the entity. Like it's one of those films that was doing really well in like in the LGBT kind of like.
It's definitely something that if you told me was good, I'd be down for seeing.
Oh yeah. What I'm trying to say, it was basically it was being praised for its representation of how it used a gay romance to actually fuel the plot and stuff like that, which is cool. Because I can't think of many horror movies which is based around a gay couple.
To be fair, most horror movies, there's very little romancing.
I don't know. All the slashers I see usually have at least one sex scene.
A sex scene is not romancing. There is a difference.
If you're doing it right, it is.
God damn
it. We shall move on to what is our final story of the week, although I have a lot of text for this one. You'll be delighted to know that this final story actually is the entire last page of...
You know what? I'd be more excited that this was the last story if I didn't just go, "Oh, I'm at the end," and then realize I'm going to listen to you for another 6 movies worth of talk.
Buckle in, folks. Buckle in. So, yes, next up. So, do you remember a story a while ago about Friday the 13th and the rights? And the writer was trying to, like...
Oh, being convoluted as shit, yeah.
He was trying to reclaim the rights. There was a law that said that after X number of years, he had a right to take back the work. But the producers argued that he was a work for hire, and then the writer, of course, and his lawyers argued, no, that was never stated ever. There was never written anywhere ever was he a work for hire. And then there's like, no, but you were in the Writers Guild, so it's kind of an assumption because that's just how everyone... And, the whole thing. Well, the big news here, and I've got a lot of text here because there's a lot of cool ideas, or not ideas, but a lot of things to kind of take from this. But the basic news is that where are we? What's the exact phrase? The courts argued in his favour. They've said that the writer is on the right side of this. And
so he gets the rights.
So they're going with him. We don't know the extent. We don't know the exact text of that the U.S. District Court judge, which is Stephen Underhill. He's granted a summary judgment in favour of Miller against the producers. Now, his full opinion is classified at the moment, so we don't know exactly what he's getting or what the precedent's going to be going forward. But it does open up a bit of a can of worms. How many other writers from the early 80s and the 70s now could maybe come and say, "Hey, wait a minute,
I want that.
I want my thing back." And this sets a precedent that perhaps they can get their thing back. And again, if it's a clear work for hire, if that was stated, and nothing's going to happen, it's fine. May not stop a lot from trying, but
if it was all based on the implication,
yes, then things get a bit tricky. What's really tricky about this though is that this is specifically a US law. So what maybe might happen now is that Victor Miller, the writer, will have the North American rights to Friday the 13th, but he won't have the international rights to Friday the 13th, meaning that everything's really murky and confused now with the rights.
So he could release things domestically.
Theoretically, yeah. But I mean, really, all he's probably going to do is want to have a say in what's getting made and then get paid for whatever's getting... he wants to have like a cut of anything that gets made, which, fair play to him. He wrote the damn movie. Although, interesting thing at the end here, it said Miller's victory also holds the prospect that he will control rights inside the US, well as producers, blah, blah. There also could be a fussing over trademarks as well as the character of Jason. According to the producers, Miller created Jason, the character who died as a young boy, but it was the sequels that presented Jason as a hockey mask-wielding serial killer. So does he own the rights to hockey mask Jason who kills people? Because arguably he doesn't. Arguably he never thought of that. That was something that a sequel did.
Yeah, I mean, I would say no.
Yeah, as would I, honestly, because it's one thing to say, okay, it's based on a character he technically made, but, like, you go back and watch that original movie, there was clearly never an intention for Jason to become something. He was just a bit of backstory. And then you look at, the sequels, and it's like, no, they made Jason something. Someone else had the idea to make him the killer and to make him
ultimately, he owns the name of Friday the 13th, which is much more important to the studios.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think you could probably get away with calling a movie, Jason something or other. I don't know if they really wanted to.
It's murky though, isn't it? Whether or not they'd get away with that.
I feel like, I mean, at the very least, they can release a movie outside the US. They could say, hey...
They can, but do they want to do that?
It's Friday the 13th outside the US. Inside the US, it's Saturday the 14th.
It'll just be a Jason movie.
Yeah. I think the most likely thing to happen once this is all settled, and I hope it gets settled, because like I say, if the Halloween movie makes a lot of money, they'll be wanting to make a Friday the 13th movie. They'll be gunning for it. I think what will basically happen, and I mean, if he wants to be stubborn and he doesn't want to play ball, he could hold them up, which would be frustrating. But what I assume is going to happen is that it'll go back to just making movies. He'll just be entitled to a good cut of whatever happens.
Yeah, I imagine he'll get a percentage of the North American box office.
Yes.
They'll specify specifically that because that's all he owns.
Sure, yeah. But no, so it's interesting that this is where it went, and he's been approved. So hopefully this untangles things soon, and we actually can get Friday the 13th movies going again. Because I happen to like Friday the 13th sequels. I would like more of them.
I've only seen the first one, which I thought. I mean, I know people are like, it's not the best one anyway.
No,
but it was so just mediocre. I didn't feel like I didn't want to bother with the rest.
It wasn't Friday the 13th yet.
I know, and that's what everyone says. But I'm like, I didn't really care after that first one.
That's fine, but I would say you've not even seen one of that's not even in the top 5 of Friday the 13th movies. There's so. Yeah, but hey, that is the news. That is all that. Which does lead us to the section where we discuss any films that we've seen recently that wasn't for review purposes. So therefore, you won't hear us talk about them anywhere else. So we might as well just chat casually here.
I remembered that when we were going to have a show last, I told you that I'd seen some of a movie.
Yes, and you were going to watch the rest of it.
No, not even that. I saw 10 minutes of a movie.
Okay.
I saw 10 minutes at the end of Lord of the Rings Two Towers because my girlfriend was watching it. I came in from work and I sat down. I was like, oh, 10 minutes of this movie, sure.
I like that.
That's all I got.
You hijacked this and butted in just so you could talk about 10 minutes of Lord of the Rings.
Well, this is all I'm getting, so I'm making the most of it.
Yeah, well, I begin with Game Night, which I watched probably about 2 weeks ago now. Game Night is the Jason Bateman comedy with Rachel McAdams, and it's pretty simple. They like to play board games and shit, and his brother is kind of this rich douchebag that he's always jealous of, and he sets up like a role playing game where someone's going to come and kidnap him, but it turns out the people who come and kidnap him are actually real, and they're actually kidnapping him, and they think it's like a scavenger hunt type game where they have to go out and find him, but they don't know it's real until obviously eventually they do, but it's a comedy. It's a comedy that is pretty funny, and I would say I quite enjoyed it. I think the third act suffers a little bit because there's a point where when they know everything's real, that they have to kind of take things seriously a bit more often.
And that's boring.
And that's, it makes the comedy less frequent in the latter half. But the first half has a lot of good stuff. They stand out though. The thing that makes this movie, the gem of this movie is Jesse Plemons, aka Fat Damon, from Fargo Season 2, USS Callister, Breaking Bad, so on. He plays the neighbour to this couple, and he's a cop, and he always speaks in this really depressing voice where he's very, very monotone, and he talks about how it'd be nice to have friends and come over and play games with them, and they always make up excuses as to why we're not doing that tonight, we're doing something else. And one moment in particular, he catches them going into the house, and they've got like crisps, potato chips. They've got like 5 big bags, right? Clearly for some
chips is what they call them.
Yes, I said potato chips.
Yeah. But just you don't need the potato. It's irrelevant.
I was just making it clear. That's all I was doing.
But I'm not going to talk any other time, so I thought I'd butt in.
Oh my God! Right, and he's like, obviously, and they're like, oh shit, he's seeing these, and he's a cop as well, so. He's a bit of a detective. He's going to deduce. That there's a party. There's a game night happening, and they tell him that it was buy one get 3 free, and he stands there and like, how is that profitable for the company? How could that be profitable? And everything with him is, but he's so monotone and deadpan. Every scene he's in is gold. Every scene he's in are the best scenes in the movie. He's fantastic in this. Overall, it's like a solid 7, because the last half maybe lets the comedy dry up a little bit. But you got I mentioned Pitch earlier. Kelly Bradbury from That's in there, which is cool.
Cool.
All right, you don't sound very entertained by my.
No, I've seen the trailers. I remember this coming out. Just never grabbed me. Didn't look that interesting to me.
It's not bad. It's not bad. As for modern comedies go, it's pretty decent. There's a couple of really proper laugh out loud moments early on, especially when they think it's fake, is when it's at its best in terms of the main plot.
That makes sense.
Because they treat everything as if it's not real, as if it's just a fun and game. But there's actually guys with guns that are dangerous and so on, and it makes it entertaining. So that was game night. So I watched that. And then the next thing I watched was Thoroughbreds, which is a sort of dark. I almost want to call it a dark comedy, but it's kind of like it's like a really dark drama that just has this dark comedy kind of undertone to it. It's Olivia Cook and from The Witch. Oh.
I've not seen it.
And Split.
Again. Anna Taylor-Joy.
There you go. You don't have to have seen The Witch to know that Anna Taylor-Joy is the girl in The Witch.
I forgot. I forgot, to be honest.
Right.
You know, it's been a while.
So, and the idea is that Olivia Cook's a character who basically doesn't feel anything. She has no emotions of any kind. And she's with Anna Taylor-Joy because she's like tutoring her. And they end up kind of becoming friends in a weird way. And they end up plotting to kill Anna Taylor-Joy's stepdad because she hates him. And he's going to send her away. And it becomes this thing where she's almost trying to train her to not feel like her. And to be a sociopath. And I think what's interesting about this film is, once again, I think the first half stronger than the second. The first half, when it's just them and they're kind of exploring the fact that she doesn't feel anything, and Olivia Cook's trying to like tell her and like teach her to be honest because she'll be happier, right? Just say how you feel. I won't care. I won't be offended, and stuff like that. That stuff, the acting between those two is what makes the movie. The second half, when it actually gets to the carrying out the plot of the murdering the dad and what that entails, it's good, but it's not as good as the first half. And I don't know if the ending quite nails the point that I wanted to make. But,
okay.
You know. And Anton Yelkon's in there as well. That's his last movie. He's got a smaller role in there. Yeah. So that's Thoroughbreds. And then next up, I watched another comedy from this year. That was Blockers. This is the one with John Cena, not CM Punk, just for the record. And
it was an animated thing. His face wasn't there.
He's a dad, and then you've got I can't remember her name. She's one of these actors. She's been in a lot of comedy, but she does the mum. And then there's the other guy who's the other dad, and they all have daughters, and they're all we see a flashback at the start where they're all like going to the first day of school, and they all meet each other. All the parents meet each other.
I remember this one vaguely. Is this the one where they're like, no, you're not having sex?
Yeah, the three girls all make a pact to lose their virginity on prom night, and then the parents kind of discover this by accident. And they're like, we're going to intervene, hence the title Blockers. Yeah. And what's funny, I feel there's a growing trend here of comedies that kind of falter in the last act because they feel like they have to actually have like a serious plot point. And I get that they kind of have to do it in this because you kind of have to have the parents acknowledge that they're doing the wrong thing by the end of it, because they are doing the wrong thing. It's not their choice.
But that's kind of boring as a comedy.
It's boring as a comedy, yeah. Honestly, though, there are some funny moments towards the end, though, as well. My biggest problem with this, because I would say the Game Night's the better movie out of the two, just if I'm comparing them. My bigger problem with this, though, is that there's some funny stuff with dialogue and the reactions to each other in the first half. But there's a point where it has to go a bit more ridiculous halfway through it. I'll basically just say this, without spoiling anything. Once you have a scene where the joke is that there's a lot of vomit, you've kind of lost me in terms of a comedy. I don't care anymore. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Someone being vomited on is not that funny. 99 times out of 100.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the same with fart jokes, isn't it?
Yeah. So some of the comedy just gets a bit too stupid and broad in the second half, and it kind of lost me. Sorry?
Juvenile is the word to describe it.
Juvenile, there you go. So once it did that, it kind of lost me, but it wasn't bad overall. I thought, obviously, the adults were all good. I thought the daughters were pretty good as well. In particular, John Cena's daughter, in the movie, she's very funny. She's got a very dry. She's almost kind of like I'm trying to think of another like actor to compare to. The way she delivers lines, it's very.
We'll wait.
it's not quite Amy Poehler. It's not quite her. It's kind of like a mix between Amy Poehler and a really confident dude. Does that make any sense?
I understand the two things you're saying there, but I can't comprehend a mixture.
It's like she'll say something really abruptly, like Leslie would in Parks and Rec, but she'll own it and want a high five for it, like a dude would, afterwards.
Okay.
And it's the way she does it, but it works. She nails this delivery of some of her lines. Just because she'll say some really like I don't know. She'll talk about her vagina or whatever. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to have something in my vagina," and she'll go to high five. Like it's a really dude bro way of saying something, but it's like a teen girl doing it.
Okay, yeah.
And her delivery actually makes it work. It's kind of funny.
Okay.
But you know, so that was Blockers. So it's okay. If I'm rating that, it's probably like a 6. You know, some enjoyable jokes in there. We are halfway. Yes. To keep you counting down.
I want to get some sleep.
Thoroughbreds was a solid 7 for the record. Just I didn't rate that one. Next up, something completely different. I watched Pete's Dragon from 2016.
I've seen this one.
You've seen this one. This is with what's her face? Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, as Matt would put it, the best thing that Ron Howard ever produced.
Yes, he does like to say that a lot.
He does like to say that, yes.
That's Matt in a nutshell. It's that and Go Knights.
Yes. The man does like his redheads. So Pete's Dragon, you know, kid's in a car accident with his parents. His parents both die. He ends up in the woods, and a dragon ends up taking care of him. Big green dragon who has camouflage technology. And 5 years later,
yeah.
He's a bit older. He's a bit of a Mowgli type character in the woods with a dragon. And they find him though, and obviously Bryce Dallas Howard's there's the police officer, and she brings him in, and she tries to look after him, and he befriends the daughter, of course, and all the rest of it. But it becomes, Carl Urban's there. He's this evil guy who wants to capture the dragon once he knows he's there, and it becomes this try to rescue the dragon. The boy try to reunite with the dragon. There's some chasing. There's Robert Redford's in there, the wise old man who's seen a dragon once and likes to tell stories about it. It's okay.
I liked it. I think it's pretty. It's very simple.
It's very simple. I like the trailer. I was expecting more from it from the trailer. I think the actual movie overall, I don't think it had as much of a.
It doesn't have that kick to it.
Doesn't have the kick, because I'm a big fan of How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm not just picking this because it's a dragon thing. I'm picking this because that's obviously very kid friendly, and it's got this sweet heart to it, right? Which this also does. It has a sweet heart to it. But How to Train Your Dragon is actually a really exciting, good story where you're starting to root for him to win by the end, where he becomes a hero, and I think this is missing that kind of extra layer.
That's fair. For me, I liked it a little bit more than you. I don't love it. I think it's very simple, straightforward, but I was always enjoying myself. It was always fun enough.
Solid 6. Yeah,
I think I gave it like a 6.5, maybe a 7 at a push.
And then next up, I watched the movie called Brawl in Cell Block 99. This came out last year. It's a 2017 movie. I can't remember the dude's name, but it's the director who did Bone Tomahawk a couple of years ago. So that was very well directed. That was a solid movie.
Yes.
I didn't love it. It was one of those ones where it's like a really good 7.5. It never quite hit the 8 for me, but it was really well directed. The plot just didn't quite add up to it. This one, Vince Vaughn's in this, and he's dating Dexter's sister, played by Carpenter, Jennifer Carpenter. Just took me a second.
Oh, okay.
Just let me get to it.
Well, I mean, you struggled with Anna Taylor-Joy, so I didn't know if you were going to get there.
Look, I'll get some. I won't get others. Just give me a chance. That's all I'm saying. But he gets fired. He's got a bit of a record. He used to be a bit of a drug runner, and he's trying to be a better guy. But he finds out she's pregnant, and they try to get pregnant after us. But they have this really bad falling out, and he's like, "Hey, we got money troubles. I'll go back to my buddy, who I'm pretty sure was played by Mark Lucas, who was Riley in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer."
I'm gonna have to verify this.
Matt Lucas. Just check if Matt Lucas was in Riot in Cell Block 99. He had a goatee, and he was older, obviously, since I've seen him last, because I've not seen him in anything since 2001.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh,
I'm checking.
I thought that was
I'm
confirmation.
just getting to the movie. No.
Okay. Matt Lucas. No, Matt Lucas. Matt Blucas. Blucas.
Mark Blucas.
There you go. Mark Blucas.
Yeah.
Matt Lucas is the guy from Little Britain.
Yeah, I thought you said Mark Lucas at first.
Yeah, it's definitely Mark. Mark Blucas.
It's Mark with a C. Ugh.
Yes, weird.
Yeah, Blucas.
Blucas, yes. It's a weird name,
Yes.
which is probably why I didn't remember it exactly.
Yeah.
But so he just starts doing jobs for him. We cut to time ahead. He's making more money. They're very happy. They're loving. Blah blah blah. He gets put up in a job with someone he doesn't like. He's like, no, this guy seems sketchy. I don't want to do a job with him because he seems like a very sensible guy. He's very safe. He knows how to do things properly, and he suspects that things might go bad. But Riley's like, nah, do this for me. I'll give you some time off when your kid's born. He's like, all right. And sure enough, it goes bad. But you get the idea that he's actually a man of honor, even though he's a bit of a criminal, because when things go bad, he actually intervenes to save the cops. Like, there's a cop who could get shot, and he intervenes to stop the other guy that it was technically meant to be working with. It's partly out of revenge as well. You get the sense that he's got a really bad anger problem. He's got like a temper. Because at the start of the movie, he actually wrecks a car because he gets so pissed off. But he doesn't direct it towards people unless they're like responsible and like awful. Like, he never just... Because at one point he even says he gave up boxing because he never really liked the idea of hitting someone without a purpose. But if he has the reason to hit them, then it's time.
There's a purpose. Getting points.
Getting points. Sure.
That's how boxing works, right? Boxing has points, right?
Yes. There's judges who give them points, yes.
Yeah, you get points when you land the hit, right? I'm pretty sure that's how boxing works.
I don't know. I'm not a boxing guy. I don't care.
I mean, we established this earlier. We don't know sports,
right?
But fairly sure.
But yeah, so it goes wrong. He gets arrested. Because he's a man of honor, he doesn't. He could probably get out if he just gave up who he works for and everything, but he doesn't do it. And he goes to this prison, and he's treated. Joe is in it actually. Big Mike from The Deuce is one of the prison guards in this.
Oh, cool.
And they put him in, and it's sort of a nice, as friendly as you can be as a prison. It's kind of laxed and whatnot. But then Udo Kier shows up, who is the villain, right? And he's like, "Hey, I've kidnapped your wife, and if you want her not to be killed, if you don't want us to force an abortion, you need to get transferred to this other prison and kill this guy." And this prison is a maximum security prison, so he has to do bad shit. But knowing that if he does bad shit, then he's going to be in here a lot longer, obviously, because then his sentence is going to be extended.
Kind of how it works, yeah.
In this movie, when it gets violent, it gets freaking violent. I actually squirmed at one point at what he does to someone in this movie.
Really?
It gets brutal as shit. And he gets transferred to this prison, and of course eventually finds out the guy he's looking for is in cell block 99, hence the title. Right? You know that's coming. You're almost waiting for it all movie, like, when's someone going to say it? We're going to 99. Come on, let's do it. What this movie is, it's a really hard-hitting, really stylishly, confidently directed B-movie. It reminds me a lot of like an early John Carpenter film, where, and I'm thinking Assault on Precinct 13 a little bit here, where he's this really sort of, like shades of grey guy, but he's got a sense of honour, so you really want to root for him, you want him to like win and make sure his wife's safe. And it's got these great character actors who are doing these great jobs. The warden in the second prison, when it's like the really bad prison, he's like a complete evil piece of shit. Right, even though he's the warden to a prison, and he should be the good guy. He's not one of the criminals, but he's awful. He treats him like shit, and the entire time he has to act like a dick, even though he doesn't want to be a dick. He's a man of honor, but he has to do that to get into the right place so he can save his wife. And like I say, it gets violent as shit, and I mean that.
Cool.
I was like squirming at what happens to someone's head in this. I shit you not. Cell Block 99, Riot in Cell Block 99 is a great movie. Sorry? What did I say?
Brawl, isn't it?
Brawl
and Riot.
Yeah, Brawl. Yeah, it's Brawl and Cell Block 99. Yeah, you're right. That actually makes more sense. There's not much of a riot. I think in my head I just swapped it with Riot sometimes because prison.
Yeah, I get that. It's definitely Brawl though, isn't it?
It's Brawl. No, so I'm looking at it just now. It's Brawl.
Yeah.
Brawl and Cell Block 99. The titular Brawl is phenomenal. And you really care about the character by the end. I highly recommend this. This was a solid 8.5.
All right.
I am on board for whatever this director's doing. He's gold. He's absolute freaking gold. So, and Vince Vaughn's not an actor I typically think of as being someone I'm excited about, but he's good in this.
Yeah, fair enough.
So good. And then the last movie I watched, outside of review purposes, was Revenge, which is a movie from this year. It's technically listed as 2017 because of festivals, but it came out this year. I actually didn't know this was a foreign movie when I sat down to watch it.
Is it?
Yeah, it's actually a co-France and Belgian film, and there is English in it because the lead actress, who's the main character, is American in the film, but her the guy who's brought her to this fancy house, he's French or whatever. All his friends are French.
French or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was French. Whenever they're talking to each other, it's all French, and they talk to each other a lot more than anyone talks to her. Like
we saw this trailer, right?
Yeah, but the trailer didn't have a lot of dialogue in it.
No, I had no inclination that this was foreign.
I'd say it feels like this weird 50-50 thing, because when they're talking to her, they're speaking in English, but every other time they're talking to each other, it's in French.
Does she understand French?
No.
Ah, okay. I already see how some of that goes.
But yeah, so he's brought this young, attractive girl. The opening shot of the movie is like she's dressed like a Lolita. Do you know the classic image of Stanley Kubrick's Lolita, where she's got the sunglasses on and the lollipop?
Yeah.
That's like you see him like in the front of the helicopter that's flying to this like remote, like posh, like, cause he's a rich guy, right? He's got this posh house out in the middle of nowhere, and the camera just sort of like pans back, and she's sitting behind him, and she's got the lollipop in her mouth, and it's very much that Lolita shot. And then the title just goes up, Revenge. And it's like, this pulsing bass. I had to turn my audio down. It was so goddamn loud. I'd very rarely do that. This was loud. But, that's his mistress. He's married with kids. We find that out pretty early. But unsuspectingly, his friends show up early, because she was supposed to leave before they arrived. Because he comes out every year to go hunting with his buddies. And they show up a day early. And right away, they're kind of like staring at her. They're ogling at her. They're not as, they're like a bit more schlubby than he is, because he's like a really attractive rich dude. His friends are a bit more normal looking, and they're kind of obsessed with looking at her. And it's because I remember seeing the trailer and not really knowing what the revenge was for specifically. Like I know they eventually hunted her down, and she came back to try and kill them, but I didn't know what for. It is actually a modern rape revenge movie. One of his friends actually rapes her the next day when he's out getting something, and when he comes back, and the real heartbreaking thing of the movie though is, beyond the actual rape itself, is that her boyfriend here, instead of like getting angry at the guy, tries to pay her off and tries to make it go away, and because he doesn't want his wife to find out, because if they have to come public with this, police, blah blah, why was he there, why was she there, blah, whole thing. And he tries to brush it under as if it's not a big deal. At one point, he even says, "Can you blame him? You're very attractive." It goes down that path. Because when the movie starts, there's a lot of shots of like really ogling, like how attractive she is. There's a lot of like shots in the sunset with her body in the foreground. And then I was like, okay, it's going to be one of these sleazy movies. As the movie goes on, though, it feels like it's got more of a point. And it was actually interesting to see afterwards that it's directed by a woman. I was actually kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Does it feel really gratuitous and sleazy, or does it like, oh, this is just the point?
It just feels like the point, especially once you get further. Once the characters start like trying to talk to her that way, you suddenly get why it was emphasizing it so much beforehand, and why it's almost like, as the viewer, you suddenly feel bad. I mean, even though the camera work was making you ogle at her that way because the camera was pointing in that way, but
you were doing it.
Because the movie was saying, "Here, look at this. You're tempted, right?" And then it's like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't have been thinking this way." And then of course, the trailer shows this. They seemingly kill her. She ends up like stabbed, impaled in a branch, but she does wake up. And it's kind of this almost Flight of the Phoenix thing where she gets stronger and she gets one of their guns and starts picking them off, and that's kind of your movie. Really well directed. There's a lot of like long takes, especially later on. There's like a extended kind of game of cat and mouse at the end, where there's a lot of long just tracking shots following it. And here's a neat little touch in the final like cat and mouse thing. The main guy is butt-ass naked. Full frontal, and it was a really nice sort of, like I was saying how at the start, it kind of like revels in like her body. There's some really nice like sort of symmetry to the ending when she's kind of hunting him, that he's completely vulnerable and naked. And when I say he's flapping around, and I think what's interesting about it is obviously every so often you see a full frontal, scene in a movie, it's whatever. But I don't think I've ever seen an actor full frontal in a scene like this, where he's like running around corners and he's got a gun in his hand and he's like sliding in blood and he's, it was a very different thing. And I think it was making a dramatic point that it was comparing it to the start of the movie. And she has this growth, of course, over the film, where by the end she's this like badass who's coming for revenge. It was very good.
Usual.
Yeah. It was very good. It was very well directed. I think the direction, the style, and how it handles everything is what makes it great.
That was definitely what drew me in from the trailer. Like, because obviously I've not seen this yet, but when we watched it, it was like, no, this has style.
I will say that the trailer makes it feel a lot more hyperkinetic. It's a lot more slower paced than the movie itself, which I guess makes sense, but it's just something to be aware of if that's what you're going into it for. But really well directed. Funny actually, the actress who plays the lead character, I was like, I recognize her name from something. It turns out she was in Rings, the recent Ring film, which was absolute garbage. This was much better. So
not her fault then.
Not her fault. But yeah, so it was good. Revenge was great. Solid 8. Maybe 8.5 with some time to reflect. But I think Revenge and Brawl and Cell Block 99 were two really great, like, and I think both of them I would describe is, in terms of plot, they're B movies, but they're both really stylish and confident and do what they're doing extremely well. And that's kind of my favorite type of B movie.
Cool.
Really slick. So that's some good movie watching the last week, especially because those two were back to back pretty much.
I'd like to say that maybe next week I'll have something to talk about, because we'll be a week or so into October. Maybe I'll have done something for the Octoberthon.
Oh yeah, expect horror movies for that. Actually, maybe don't expect them on this show. I'm thinking of doing like a little October thing separately.
Well, I'm not. If I watch any, they're coming on this show.
What's that?
If I watch any, they're gonna come on this show. Oh, sure,
no, that's fine. No. I was just, because I plan to try to like get through a bunch. I might do like a couple of just solo. Here's the bunch of movies I watched for October this year, because I'm expecting there to be enough that it will be too much for this show. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, because you're going for it, I assume.
Oh, I'm hoping to go for it, but we'll see. We'll see. But that is the movie news this week. Extremely long movie news, might I add. I pity the file size for the upload, but that is us. So, but by all means, we'll make the outro quick here. But the guys on patreon.com/mailfuzztv if you want to support us and just support everything we do and keep the stuff coming. We'll be back to our regular time with a bit of luck next week. It is worth mentioning, and when I say next week, I mean kind of Monday, a week in Monday, because that's typically when this should go up.
The usual time.
Yeah. Worth mentioning, the week after that, it'll be a weird solo just me episode, because Connor's on vacation for a week, so just keep that in mind.
A bit of a shit one.
Or the best episode we've ever done, potentially. We'll see.
The viewers can decide.
Yes. So look out for that. And I suppose it's worth mentioning, the Octoberthon's coming. Screams After Midnight. There'll be an episode almost every other day of a new horror movie going up review-wise for me and Tim, so you can look forward to that. But I'll leave that there. Get us on Mailed Fuzz, Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates and stuff. Get me at Wibble89. Get Connor at ConnorRyan94 if you want to see us on there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. I always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.